participants. Good morning to all of you. Welcome to the PAMCPD talk. It is organized by the ESG committee in collaboration with the CPD committee. My name is Dr. Sucharita Srirangam, and I'm going to be your MC and convener today for this wonderful event organized by PAM. And it's my immense pleasure and immense honor to invite you all to the program today. Please be advised that you need to scan for 2 QR codes in order to get your registration sorted and in order to make sure that your participation is registered for the CPD points claim. So the QR codes are available at the registration counter. If you've not done so, please do it as soon as possible before you leave from here today. Before we commence this wonderful session, which is going to be, I'm sure, very, very inspiring, with a pool of architects and planners and other environmentalists talking to you guys today. It's going to be a very inspiring session, but before we start the session today, let us begin with making honor to our country, with singing of the national anthem, Negaraku. Please rise if you're able, and let us join together in unity as we pay tribute to our beloved country. Thank you. Please be seated. Without further ado, allow me to read some housekeeping notes for you. To evacuate the building, please use the exit by the nearest staircase, following the exit signage and obey all instructions given by the fire wardens. Remember to avoid the lifts. Kindly switch your mobile phones to silent mode, or better yet, switch them off for paying full attention and focus to the event. If you're unwell, we kindly advise you to wear the face mask during the event as a courtesy to other fellow participants here. At this event, we only offer open buffet later during lunch. I would like to invite our chairman, Architect Air Hong Jung Wai, also known as Akshi. He is our chairman of PAM ESG Committee, Environmental, Social and Governance Committee, to deliver his welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Suchi. Good morning to our fellow architects, consultants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PAM for today's forums. For those who don't know me, I'm Architect Ashi Hoi, the newly appointed ESG chairman from PAM Council. So welcome to today's forum, the part of the Environment Month, Perspective on Urban Green in Malaysia. Today we have esteemed speakers. I don't have time to introduce one by one, but later on our moderator will introduce to you. But we very appreciate their time and their sharing. And The one I want to thank is the working teams led by Dr. Chee. Dr. Chee been spent a lot of effort, and we owe you our appreciations. Yeah, thank you. Despite a very tough time, it's not easy, been holding an event and with so many speakers. And we also thank Twan, our vice convener, also helped a lot in this event. And also Architect Sali, who helped on the moderator. I know he's the most pink man in town, but believe me, in his heart is green. And last but not least, I thanks the sponsor, Suzuka, who can turn the brick wall into concrete, and the concrete wall into brick as well, without demolish it. So it's very green, yeah. And all the working behind the scenes, our technical teams, our media teams, our who were set up, and the secretariat. So thank you all, and enjoy the forums. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexi. That's very inspiring beginning already. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed further with the forum, we wish to thank our sponsor for today's session, Suzuka Code, for the support towards the seminar, the whole event. Without further ado, please welcome Ms. Farisha Izzati, Specification and Sales Executive from Suzuka Code, for a short presentation. The stage is yours.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning to everyone here. So my name is Farisha. I am a representative from Suzuka Group. So for today's session, I would like to brief a little bit about my company profile and also the products offer. Okay. So let's get started with our company corporate video. For you guys' information, Suzuka has been established for more than 46 years. So our founder is a Taiwanese, but we have been localized in Malaysia since 1997. So which means around 27 years in this Malaysian market. So we actually are the manufacturer. We produce our own products. So we do supply our material, and at the same time we have our in-house project team who support application services. Right, so some of our signature product is actually a textured coating, brick veneer, and wall panel. So basically, for our focus is to provide a wall solution service. Okay, so this is our manufacturing facilities, which actually we have a HQ or factory in Klang, Selangor, and we also have plant in Thailand and also Taiwan. So we do export our products globally. And this is some of our certification we have for our products. We are certified by ISO 9000. We have 14,000 ISO for environment management system. Basically what we do to minimize its effect for the environment. And additional, we also have ISO 45,000, basically to promote health and safety at work. So another certification we have is CRIM, Eco Level, And certain of our products also got certificate by Singapore Green Label, LEED, California Proposition 65. We also have SDS certification and some of our awards. Just for you guys' information, every year we participate in Archidex event. So for this year event, we are the Best Booth Design awarded, gold. And the past few years also, we won some of the awards, Green Dot and New Products Award. And if you happen to be nearby, you want to visit our showroom, you want to see our product physically, maybe you want to feel it and touch our products, you can have the experience at our showroom. If you are in KL, you can come to our main showroom located at Mont Kiara, which is in Wisma YNH, Petaling Jaya, Klang, and also Jalan Ipoh KL. But if you are from Southern, you can come to our Johor Bahru showroom and also Melaka showroom. If you are in Sarawak, you can come to our Kuching showroom. And we also have a Penang showroom. Okay. So this is some of the photos of our showroom. Right, this is located at Johor Bahru. And this is the main showroom we have at Mont Kiara. So most of the products displayed are here. You can get free samples also from our team at this showroom. Okay, and this is some of the brands we have worked with before. SP Setia, EcoWorld, Gamuda, and then some of F&B and also retails, BM, Starbucks, McD, T-Life, Shopee, Typo, and a few more. Alright, so I would like to go through our products offer. So basically for wall finishes, we have coating, wall panel, and brick and stone veneer. Right, so let's move on to coatings product first. This is all the series we have. So for interior purpose, we have Strato series. This is the product series we have. If you are looking for something more like a rendered surface effect, cementitious effect, you can consider this SCT, Strato Cement Textured, or maybe velours. For more colors option and textured option, you can consider this Strato Linen, Strato Satin, Merino and Organza for rougher surface effect. We also have Strato Cashmere and Taffeta. So this is for interior purpose again. Let me show you the application process. This is basically how we apply the Strato cement texture. We have a few steps. We use primer first, second to be the textured coat, and last is top coat. Products. The next product we have, Strato Linen. This is the latest one. It will have some rough surface on it. So the application is very simple. You can even do it yourself. Just use primer as the undercoat and then textured coat using a special roller. We will provide the roller as well. Final looks. Alright, so apart from interior products, we also have exterior products, something similar to the SCT. So we call it monocrete. This one is for the exterior. And then something more for exterior, we have granulite. This is our latest products. So granulite is basically a spray granite effect coating. This is the application process. So this is the type we have, and beside for aesthetic purpose, these products also have a few advantage on it. Easy on installation, mostly economical in terms of material cost, easy on installation, easy on maintenance as well. And some of the features is for resistant to stains, fungus, algae, acid, and alkali. It's very washable and easy to maintain, high adhesion, water-based, and basically co-friendly products. And beside the granulite system, you can also consider this for your exterior wall. Okay, this one we call it Modena coating. We have more than 10 design actually, so this is just some of it, right? So this is the wall finishes effect. Yeah, a lot of texture and also pattern to be considered. All right, so we also have textured coating. In market, some people call it spray granite. So we have 3 series. We have magic granite for rougher surface, additional with mineral flakes for more extraordinary looks for your walls. And then stony coat, it have a rougher surface also, and also using natural stone. And for sandy surface or fine sand, you can consider the ceramic coat. Right, so this kind of product, this kind of textured coating are suitable for surface like concrete, wood, mortar, masonry, and also gypsum plasterboard. Right, this is some of the project reference, completed project reference. Okay. This one is the ceramic coat, ceramic. Yeah, so I would say most of the building facade area for Putrajaya also consider using our textured coating product. Hotels. All right, so that is for textured coating. Now let's move on to the wall panel we have. So for wall panel, this is our latest product. We call it Akistra. So the material is actually by PU stone. Okay, let's go with the installation. Orchestra. Alright, so this is some of the features. It's very lightweight product, anti-mold, water resistant, so it will be suitable for interior and also semi-outdoor. Alright, so this is some of the design we have. The latest one is ACH 11. Okay, or something like sandstone effect, you can consider ACH 10 or ACH 20, or more bulky series, you can consider ACH 40. Right, so apart from that, we also have something like bare finishes, concrete finishes. So we have cast panel, right? This is the features, and this is the completed project reference. Right, it will come by paneling, and beside that, this is our signature products. I think you guys quite familiar with this veneer already. This is our brick collection. So we have a lot of pattern, colors, and options to be considered. The S, BQ, and this is my favorite one. This one we call it Castone Air, AR30 series. So this product is basically made by rubber and composition, engineered composition basically. So it can be bendable, so suitable for column and for your curved wall. Right, and we also have Castone Light for maybe shielding application or partition. It's very lightweight product. Each something like more extraordinary looks. And then we have cast stone veneer collection. So yeah, this is some of the design and the collection. The S, X0, yeah, mostly for a bungalow, residential project, and commercial also can be used. All right, I think that's all for our products offer. So actually we have more options, more color codes. So if I were to go through all the products option, it will be a very long session. So I will end my session here. But just to remind you guys again, if you have any inquiry, if you are interested with our products, you can contact our team through the hotline number here, or you can just scan the barcode. And we are here also to support this event. So we are just outside of the hall. You can get the physical catalogs, and don't forget to claim your free gift set, okay, for this special event. So again, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, PAM Associate, for the time. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Farisha Izzati, for the talk. Very, very insightful and informative talk. Thank you very much. I think without further ado, we will now proceed with the first forum by the esteemed and invited guest speakers. Firstly, we would like to invite our beloved architect A.R. Sarli. He has been one of the part of the core team who had been instrumental to establish this event for the sake of knowledge sharing for creating Green Malaysia, and he has been the core team of our core part of the team who had been instrumental to establish this event. And he was our ex-chairman of the Sustainability, Climate Change and the New Urban Agenda Committee of PAM. He is the managing director of SA Square, and we would like to invite him to the stage to moderate the session and to introduce the speakers as well. Welcome, A.R. Sarli.
Thank you, Dr. Suchi, for such your kind words. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest round of applause is to our convener, Dr. Suchi, who put everything together. Please. We have with us today a set of 9 very, very esteemed speakers. And the format is we're going to split them into 2 groups, 5 in the morning and 5 in the late morning after the tea break. So each speaker will have about 10 minutes to present, and then we will come here as a forum to take questions from you regarding the topic. So the first forum is actually perspectives on green architecture in Malaysia. And we have 5 speakers. First is Mr. Steve McCoy, founder and director of Centrepoint Consulting, a very well-known environmental consultant. We have Mr. Chu Jianju of Veritas Architects, who is the head of ESG for Veritas Architects. We have architect Twan, director of CTA Architects Yang Berhad, who is an advocate for ESG as well as one of our committee members. We have landscape architect Phua award-winning architect and managing director of Land Art Design. Yeah. And last but not least, we have technologist Vincent, who is the vice president of the Malaysian Green Building Council. So without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Steve McCoy, to present his paper entitled The First Earth Day and Its Legacy, Implications for Architecture. Without further ado, Mr. Steve McCoy.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see all of you here. As Sally said, this talk was prepared for April in conjunction with Earth Day. It's now not April. So I will say something about Earth Day. But I noticed that the session, the end of the session, is meant to conclude with remarks on the objectives of urban green in Malaysia. So I thought what would be useful was to consider this question: is the Malaysian Green Building Index fit for purpose? And of course, the idea of, I was here at the 15th anniversary, which was earlier this year. 15 years has gone by really quickly. And this question, what next for GBI, is obviously an ongoing question. And in order to consider, let me introduce myself a bit more. I am not an architect, as you've heard. But my grandfather was an architect, so there was a little exhibition of his work. He was a founding member of PAM. PAM was 100 years this year. I now have a sister-in-law who is an architect. I'm not an architect. And I am not the husband. I am the brother-in-law. I know that there's this rumor that it was me. It's not me. I'm still available. So I have been kind of environmental sustainability consultant for, about 20 years. And about 15 years ago, I was an ambassador for the Living Building Challenge in Malaysia. So about the time when GBI was beginning, I was going to try and persuade architects to consider LBC as a way of thinking about, of challenging architecture and engineering. So when you're thinking about this question, is something fit for purpose? Obviously, perspective is one of the things that we have to consider. And perspective can be thought in many different ways. We all live in the same world, but all of us, practically all of us, have different perspectives on the same thing. So of course, perspective, you can take a ground level view, you can go a bit higher, like a 100-foot view. You can go a bit higher and you see a bit more. You go even higher and you can go even higher, right? And so for architects, obviously you're working at a particular site, right? But the perspective is what? Is it the street? Is it the municipal area? Is it the country? Is it the state? Is it the country? Is it the whole planet, right? These are different perspectives that we need to think about. And obviously, there is also a perspective in terms of time. So not so long ago, we thought that the world looked like this, and then we, because we had distorted information and incomplete information, and then we saw that the world looks like this, and then we thought the world looks like this, and then we think the world looks like this, and now we know that the world kind of more looks like this. Okay, different perspectives in terms of knowledge and understanding. And the other thing that we think about in terms of perspective is also the way we frame things, right? So, you can see kind of film directors going like this or kind of going like this. And we cut out what we see, what we don't want to see, right? So framing is also an interesting thing to consider when we think about perspectives, which is what we're thinking about today. And of course, framing is also conceptual. So although we don't know, we know that the world actually doesn't look like this. Africa is much, much, much bigger than depicted. This is still the standard way that we look at the atlas and the world in terms of geography. So Earth Day happened April 22nd, 1970. It was a long time ago. It was born from the hippie movement in the 1960s. It was huge, right? You can see that's the New York Times the day after Earth Day. It was all over the United States. Here on the right, you see the organizer, or one of the organizers. That's Dennis Hay. I'll come back to him in a little bit. This is a video that.
If the people really understood that in the lifetime of their children, they're going to have destroyed the quality of the air and the water all over the world, they'd do something about it. But this is not well understood.
Rachel Carson has to get the main credit for the modern environmental movement.
We are certainly headed for disaster.
The major claims are gross distortions of the actual facts.
There was a massive group of people who cared very deeply about the Earth, and if organized, could be a viable political movement.
Do you consider yourself...
Okay, you know the story, right? I mean, we have a climate crisis. Really, we have an ecological crisis going on. 2 years after Earth Day, which was really awakening in America, was the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment. This is 1972. So this is like the beginning of the world awareness of what's going on. And it's been going on and on and on and on and on and on. I've stopped at 2002. There's another 20 years of going on and on and on of this awareness of what's happening. But the reality is, sorry, before I get back to the reality, the hope was that we would get to something like this. I don't know, have you seen this Apple TV series? Anybody? This is an interesting work of fiction where a scientist managed to create a device that allows them to travel to different realities. Okay? It's fiction. All right. So in episode 7, they travel to this version of the world, which was an eco heaven. So this is actually supposed to be Chicago, where everything is perfect. We live in a very sustainable world. It looks like that. And in different episodes, you go to different realities. So this is Chicago underwater. This is Chicago, which is completely empty after a massive pandemic. On the left, you see a frozen world. On the right, you see a world a bit like Mars. And the idea from 1970, April 22nd, 1970, we need to be heading towards a kind of optimistic, fantastic, technological future, all right? So this is like green buildings and you can see like, well, anyway. It's interesting to watch for you guys how episode 7 actually talks about this world. The reality is, though, that we are heading to a 4-degree world, right? This is the best that we are doing at the moment. 4 degrees of warming from pre-industrial age. That means that in Malaysia, which is brown, Malaysia will be uninhabitable. Okay, uninhabitable. A lot of people say that climate scientists are not telling the truth because they are underplaying how bad things are, because they're worried about being cancelled, about being an eco-alarmist. So we could be heading towards a 6-degree world. 2 more minutes, oh dear, okay. So this is from a few days ago, 11th of August, looking at the sea temperature. Average sea temperature rise has gone up by 28.5 degrees. And this is not just around the Mediterranean, this is kind of everywhere. This is satellite imagery of how hot the sea has become. The sea has been a heat sink for us. Antarctica has risen by up to 47 degrees. Can you imagine Malaysia, 47-degree rise? It's just, it's uninhabitable. So if we do nothing, this is business as usual. Right? This is just doing the things that we're doing now. And inertia is our biggest enemy. From my perspective, I like to think of us as this. This is another great documentary about these weird people who go diving. Apparently, when you get to a certain depth, right, when you get to a certain depth, you don't have to swim down. You free fall, right? So I think it's 20,000 feet or something. You just fall, right? And so they don't have to do anything. They're just like as if it's going like they're on a lift. And in order to save their lives, they have to turn around and swim back up to the surface. This, for me, is where we are heading. Planet is resilient. Life on the planet is fragile. I don't do sustainability consulting anymore because I've realized that the tools that we have at our disposal, ESG, sustainability, corporate reporting, is like this. You know, you can be a dog just jumping up and down, trying to get to the right place, trying to get the treat, but you never get there. right? So you can keep on jumping, and you'll never get there. So in terms of Earth Day, and I'm going to be very, very, very quick, that is Dennis Hayes. He left Harvard in order to organize Earth Day, and he's dedicated his life to this question, the questions that came up in Earth Day. This is him today. He is a CEO of a thing called the Bullet Foundation. The Bullet Foundation owns this building, which is the greenest commercial building on Earth. That's what they call it. I hope you guys know this building, the Bullet Center in Seattle. So the project was meant to be 6 stories and living building challenge certified. And of course, they had to have a very high performance building in order to achieve this. So this is a kind of standard office building. That's the solar array. The standard office building uses 72,000 BTU per square foot. This is Seattle code. That's a solar array required. That's 51 kilo BTU. This is LEED Platinum, and this is what they achieved, half of that. So this is what the Living Building Challenge can do. And if you look at energy as part of the industry that you're at, it's absolutely huge, right? So building operations plus building construction material is about 50% energy consumption compared to transport and industry over there, right? So it's a huge responsibility that you guys have. So the question is really, is GBI 15 years on, is this the tool that is right for the job? Is it fit for purpose? Depends on your perspective. It's a question that I think needs talking about and discussing rather than just like inertia, right? Inertia will take us just carrying on. Like it's okay to carry on, it's not. And so like we don't want GBI to be this, you know, like just jumping up and down and never reaching where we need to go. Okay, that's me. You can ask me questions later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. What a challenging start to the day. So our next speaker, I think is a good introduction and segue to our next speaker, Mr. Chu Jianjun, which we always call JJ, the head of ESG from Veritas Architects. Please welcome JJ.
Hello. Right, good morning, everyone. I am JJ, can call me JJ. This is my first presentation in PAM, so please bear with me. So, the topic of my paper today is Veritas Green Check, Eco Warriors Living in a Green Dot. As a background introduction of mine, I currently head the environment portfolio and all the ESG initiative that we do, one of which will be Veritas Green Check. So Veritas Green Check is an evaluative building design checklist that allow us to ensure all our designers design our buildings in accordance to sustainability building design principles and strategies at the early stage, with the purpose to further develop our product, our green building, to eventually attain green rated building status at the later stage. We collaborated, we came up with Veritas Green Check in collaboration with the United Nations Global Compact, Malaysia and Brunei, in line with all the sustainable development goals. This is a picture of our President David inking a memorandum of understanding with the President of the United Nations Global Compact. Today, I have a simple proposition. With Veritas Green Check, we hope to fill in a gap where we can answer questions of different stakeholders across the value chain, being developers, architects, designers, contractors, or even the general public. So for developers, I do have our clients asking me question about how can we help as an architect to with our line of work, designing green building whatsoever, for their business continuity. And for architects and designers, how do we improve our capabilities in terms of convincing the client to get their buy-in for green building designs? And even for contractors, when we roll out our tender requirements, we often tell the contractors, okay, this will be a green building design to a certain certification, to a certain level. And what they did was just telling us, okay, they will comply, but without really knowing what is there, what is in the design. Even for general public, we want to educate the lay persons that they are also a force for good. Because they are the one dictate the market demand. And all of these stakeholders form a complete cycle on the built environment we live in today. So to plug our Veritas Green Check in terms of our basic architectural consultancy services, we identify Veritas Green Check as early as schematic design, where we just going through the do the sketches whatsoever. We will go through this Veritas Green Check internally, ticking all the boxes. Later I will talk about what is Veritas Green Check. Now, right now I'm talking about why do we come up with this. So is to secure buy-in as early as possible from our client and to ensure the whole project team can be on the same page moving forward to produce the green building design for the later stage to be rated by a proper green building certification. For the avoidance of doubt, we are not trying to compete with GBI whatsoever. We are just trying to fill in the gap right at the front to secure the commitment from the developer, for example. So how do we come up with this? We consolidated all our experience throughout 35 plus years from all the projects that we have done that has been green rated. And this is sort of like a sneak peek of our data regarding the type of green building certifications and to what levels of standards that we design our building for. So for example, this is Menara Binjai. It is completed before GBI exists, and it was rated to GBI Platinum in retrospect after GBI came. This is another of our project, Menara Etika, just a stone throw away. In fact, I mean, this green wall is just more of like a facade treatment, but what really helps with the client is that the status of it being a green building actually warrant them to secure tenant, for example, like Google, who set a benchmark in terms of the office they will operate in. So they will require a green building. So this is sort of like in hindsight we realize the benefit that green building warrants to our client. This is another project, International School, Kuala Lumpur. Because we know that for school typology, the requirement will be more stringent. So the green building status will actually help with the children, help with the school kids for a better education in the better environment. This is another headquarter buildings by PKNS. In fact, you look at the look at the top view, the plan view, the sweeping curve. In fact, we introduce more green areas than the land that we take up for this building. And this would be Petronas Learning Centers, our recently completed project, which won us a lot of awards regarding green building certifications. You can see there is a pool of water which acts as a microclimate to help to cool down the building by itself. So Veritas Green Check is a free checklist that we try to introduce to everyone. This is our website at the bottom of this slide. First thing, you will go to the bar icon at the top right. Then you will be led to this drop-down menu where you will click into sustainability. And right at the bottom right, you can download our Veritas Green Check. It's available for everyone, free for all. And this is what it will look like because it is an Excel sheet, this is what it will look like. It's split into two parts. First is being architectural passive design checklist, where we would have a lot of 1 to 13, a lot of design metrics, but in terms of how we evaluate them, it's not like GBI, we're trying to do what GBI does in terms of quantitative analysis, but this is more rather like qualitative. So based on our data collection throughout all our experience, we filter down to each and every metrics, each and every parameters. Then we sort of like pose a simple question to the target audience. And then all you need to say is yes or no. And then with all the remarks here, then all this yes or no will be translated into points. And this part is the mechanical and electrical component with yes or no. And thank you, everyone. This is my presentation about Veritas Green Check. Appreciate your time, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, JJ. Veritas Green Check is actually a very good effort by a company to actually inculcate sustainability inside the design process itself. I think that's why we called them here. Perhaps there is synergy with the bigger, as you mentioned, the bigger green rating tools and whatnot. Next, we have architect Chee Twan. He's the director of CTA Architects, as mentioned. And his presentation will be on the role and challenges of Green Building Index in Malaysia. Welcome, Architect Chee Twan.
Okay, morning everyone. Okay. So actually, today's topic is the role of and challenges of green building in Malaysia from the architect's perspective. So just a bit introduction of myself. I have the experience in a broad spectrum of in hospitality, integrated development, residential, retail, and education in my previous office. Prior to setting up CTA Architects, I was with SA Architects for the last 16 years and was responsible for numerous projects such as Kemuning Utama, Utropolis Glen Mary, with the KDU campus, which is now UOW, as well as some development in ICT in Shah Alam. So today here I'll be sharing some of my key past projects experience with GBI certification. So my perspective in green is more from the user side rather than in GBI itself, where I actually had the opportunity to use the GBI rating tools and work with the developers, as well as the designer for some of the projects, such as the KDU University College, the office tower in ICT, another residential high-rise in Kepong, as well as currently under CTA Architects, I'm working on a mixed development, which is in Penang. Here, case study number 1. This is actually a land size of 21 acres, and I was involved in briefly around year 2011. It was, I think, it was 2 years after the GBI started. We were still at a very early stage of GBI, I would say, in year 2011. And the client came to us with the intention to go green. We look at it, it was at that point of time, everyone is learning about green. The design brief given to us is a block of institution, hostels, commercial service apartment, Soho, and a block of hotel. We start off with looking at a site analysis, and I've been bring the advocate of a green building. What my take was actually to go with the orientation of buildings, because we were all taught about sun orientation, we taught about natural ventilation. So we start to carve it out and try to disintegrate a block of, a 21 acre of land size into different components. And here you can see that we actually put in the consideration of how to connect each of the components. And being the young architect at that point of time, I try to sprinkle in all the green features all around it. So we look at it that if you're building things upwards, so we are taking away the green on the ground. So a natural response is to put up back the green onto the rooftop. But I think it was not a very good idea. We ended up at the end of the project being the only component that we go for the green is the institution, is that university block. So all the efforts that we trying to put in on top the sky roof were actually not being submitted for GBI rating. That was my experience, my first experience in green. Okay, this is the overview of the master plan that we actually at the end completed. You can see that it's a very nice green field right in front of the campus. And we have a lot of features like the screens, a lot of cross ventilation, which actually I feel proud about. But the key challenges that we face at that point in maybe year 2012 to 2016, is the additional cost to developers, which at that point of time it was an issue because when the design brief was given, they didn't have any idea what would be the cost to go for green. We also have to engage additional GBI consultants and for GBI accreditations. The perception of high maintenance costs, because we were thinking that all the green features will come with the maintenance. So those were the challenges that we faced with the developers. The requirement of certain specification which to comply to certain scores were also very limited at that point of time. So those were the challenges that we faced when designing this building at that point of time. The other issue that we face, which I think is also faced by a lot of architects during those days, were the low demands of and the selling points for investment products. As you can see that in our 21 acres of products, half of them are actually service apartments, and there's no demand for green building by the investors or by the purchasers for residential. At that point of time, we feel that perhaps this is actually a lack of exposure compared to other countries. So benefits that we actually get back after I came back for maybe an audit, we realized that actually for the capex that the developer put in, they enjoy a lower operating cost, which at that point of time were not being highlighted. And we also look at it that the developers end up winning a few awards for this project, and it actually helps them in the branding and the corporate compliances. The operation tax incentives were enjoyed by the developers. So, but to us, for all the past, I would say past 6 years in the project doing the design, those benefits were actually not very visible to all of us. So I think that from there, we have to actually educate our clients the benefits upfront, like what I think Mr. JJ doing at upfront is actually very relevant to all of us as an architect. We need to educate our clients what are the important aspects of green building and how it can benefit them, so that we can do the things right at the beginning. So my case study 2, I put that office tower because that is what we submitted at the end. But it was actually also another 18.5 acre of land, which consists of shopping mall, grade A offices, hotel suites, service apartment, and some convention center. To cut things short, so at the end, what we did is we have all the design features, but the developer selected the office tower to go for GBI instead of the rest of the components. So we actually look at it. It was a nice project that I was very fortunate to be involved with. Before I left SA, I managed to see through the completion of the ICT, the shopping mall, the office towers, and the hotels. We also had the opportunity to design the bridge to connect each of the plots around ICT. So this is the view at the end before I left ICT. We completed the office towers. It went for MSC status, it went for GBI. But the key challenges that we face throughout the years from I'll say that from 2016 until 2011, again, the developer, crying to us to say that they have to pay additional costs to go for green. There's also, again, another additional fees for GBI consultants, accreditations. We have the perception of high maintenance costs at that point of time as well. And low demand selling point for investment products, residential and commercial. This came back to us, that for the service apartments, there's no or low demand from purchasers to ask for a green building. We look at it that the key benefits that developer enjoy, rather than comparing to the first case study, this developer gained a lot of developers' branding and corporate compliances, which in return, we find that it is starting to see the importance of green. And there's also a corporate demands from the office towers. We look at it that the operating costs definitely are lower compared to a non-green buildings. And by the time I left SA, we were told by the developer that they managed to, to actually win quite a lot of awards for this building. And we were very glad that we went for green and we advised the developers to go for green. So come to the case study number 3. This is an integrated development. The land size is smaller, but we have 3 different components: retail, hotel, and service apartments. So for this round, our approach with the experience that we had, we asked the developers to go for all out, instead of going for one of the small components or part of it. So we go for that, and we start to look at it that the design, I'll still be consistent with my design. We try to put something on top, but rather than having the usual roof garden with a lot of trees, this round we go with more facilities. We think that green isn't really just about planting trees. It has a lot more to be sustainable and to be responsible to our Mother Earth. So I start to come up with a different type of design topology, and we disintegrate the floor plans to actually encourage more cross ventilation. We thought about having the hot air through the courtyards in the middle to go all the way up to the top. We ensure that we collect the rainwater and so on. And this is the current project that I'm working on, which we have going for green. Although we are not going for a very, we are not going for gold or what, but we intend to actually go for silver for this project. So I'll talk about key challenges that we face for this project. It is definitely additional cost to developers. It's definitely additional costs fees required for GBI consultants and the accreditations. But what we find the benefits are the developers' branding and corporate compliance, which is actually very important for all the developers and all our clients. The corporate demands, because we find that for international brand hotels, they are looking at that kind of aspect. The lower operating costs, which can be enjoyed by the developer if they hold assets. And of course, the awards potential. We look at it that throughout the year of my experience, the challenges are getting less each project that I'm working on. The benefits are increasing. So why green buildings to us? We have, I know Dr. Talma is going to be here, so I got some quote from him. Green buildings save energy, recycle resources, and minimize the emission of toxic substances throughout its life cycle. Designed to local climate and surrounding environment, and is able to sustain and improve quality of human life while maintaining the capacity of an ecosystem at local and global levels. The role of GBI and benefits to us is, it has many benefits such as a better use of building resources, significant operational savings, and the increased workplace productivity, which we find that is very important to a lot of our clients. Building green sends the right message about a company or organization that it is well-run, responsible, and committed to the future. To us, fulfilling or designing a green building is also fulfilling one's corporate ESG and ensuring that they will continue to operate in an ethical and sustainable manner that is in line with the treaty's vision. Sustainable financing, which at the early stage were not very visible, but it is actually evidently a benefit to all parties. And for developers, the sustainable developments enable banks or investors to finance them with lesser cost and offering attractive financing options such as low interest rates or tax incentives. So the impact and efficacies of green buildings is the idea of going green to ensure that we protect Mother Nature and the environment, which in turn benefit us. To us, developing a green building is often a lengthy process that can be extremely tedious and exhausting to meet the additional costs to the developers. But throughout my experience, those costs that at the end of the day were actually ranging between 2% to 8%, as we have learned so. So it really isn't that costly if you look at the other benefits that actually green building enjoy. The process of being certified green building may be long and arduous, but its long-term benefits to the world and more importantly to our future cannot be overstated. So that's all for my talk today. Thank you.
Thank you, Twan, for sharing your extensive experiences. Without further ado, we move on to our next speaker, the always dapper landscape architect, Phua Chin Eng, who's the Managing Director of Land Art, and his topic is Biophilic Design Approach as a Way Forward in Malaysia. Please welcome landscape architect Phua.
Good morning, everyone. Can I take one photo before I start my presentation? Yeah, because I like to just keep all this beautiful memory in my life. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you. There's some audience on the upstairs as well. Okay. Can I just press the center one, right? Yeah, okay. Before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm Phua, I'm founder of Land Art. Land Art actually, we are specialized in landscape architecture and also master planning and interior design. We see outdoor and interior as one entity. There is no boundary between these two spaces. So my topics today is biophilic design approach as a way forward in Malaysia. What's meaning of biophilic design is an approach to architecture that seek to connect building components more closely to nature. So when we design together with the architects, so we try to bring a natural lighting, ventilation, and ventilations, natural landscape feature for creating more productive and healthy built environment for people. Today I'm going to share two projects. The first one, Tun Razak Exchange. We have emphasized more on public RAM and the streetscape enhancement. The entire TRX project is about 70.6 acres. Yeah, out of 70.6 acres, 23% are the public spaces for the park, green spaces. Before we start the design, we engaged to the stakeholder. We talk to the shop owners and also the public. Only we start drawing out design strategies and a master plan. So this master plan actually inspired through the old transport system in the past day, like a railway track and also seaborne trade. So this has become a design metaphor to tie up the entire building as one entity. So this is first area I'd like to just share with you, called Raintree Plaza. If you've been to TRX shopping mall, it's just in front of that, about 11,500 meters square. It's about 250 meter long. If you walk straight to pavilions, it's another 200 meters. So this is kind of the ideas that we would like to bring in. You can see day and night time. And I see from the inside looking out or outside looking in, it's like a big piece of the carpets, you know, welcome you to the TRX shopping mall and also unite the entire buildings. And we also use it part of the celebration for Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, and also use it for Zumba as well in a weekend, you know, and also become part of the transition spaces during office lunch hours. And when it comes to, you walk straight down to the pavilions areas, you will pass through some of these corners, like we introduced 2 rows of the plantings. By providing 2 rows of planting, we can reduce the thermal comforts in the urban areas from 34 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees. So approximately you can bring it down to 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. So another areas, this is Raintree Plaza. Original is surrounded by the building. It's used it for the sales gallery previously. And this Raintree is planted by Tunku Abdul Rahman in the day one. And after we remove the structures of the building itself, we restore it. We preserve this Raintree because this is part of the unique features that we embrace with the water feature elements. So this water feature and the Raintree become a node between the Northwest Plaza areas, the backdrop of TRX. So using the code of Tun Razak, Tun Razak, our second Prime Minister, is a part of the code that put it on top, purposely make it upside down, and was captured by the Nazri Razak. He said that the deck coated reflected in the pond. It showed in his social media, so we capture it. Then we just share with you on these areas. Okay, and then during the night time, this kind of reflection effect that we get it. When the water comes, you can read the code. You want to find the meanings, you can welcome to go and see that. Okay, another areas, Raintree Plaza at the end, they call Plan B, a cafe. We've been there. This building is designed by GDP Architects. And when we just work together with them, we need to restore about 9 numbers of existing tree here. So how we preserve it, that we will try to penetrate through from the roof, you know, and make it part of the features and also a sculpture when you're looking from the inside looking out or outside looking in. And when we also introduce some planting to reduce the heat in the urban areas. That is part of the transition leading toward the pavilions. When still we're under construction stage, we call Honda Plaza. They're under construction stage right now at the front portion. This is a night scene that we create a contrast between orange and the TRX areas that purposely using that kind of the lighting effect reflect the roof colors. Another area just recently opened for the public during Hari Raya. They're called Barat Walk. It's part of the social gathering point, entrance toward the shopping mall at the west area. So this is actually, below here is actually, how to go back? Hey. Huh? Button below? Okay. Sorry. So this is actually, the structure is the M&E at below. Change our level is about 40 meters high. And we have total about 88 steps going up. Sorry. Okay, so this is the entrance toward TRX shopping mall areas. So we create this part of the step to break through the straight line, inspired through from the topography of the limestone in Malaysia. So this is kind of the ideas that we created it. And we are using a different colors of the granites to create to break through the monotony of the step, the experience people walking out. And then we also insert in some seating and the planted boxes for people to rest. Yeah, because quite a steep area, because we are very, very challenging, especially on these corners. And then we also insert in some of the fiber optic light to create a interesting experience mode during the night time. So the entire TRX areas, actually, we introduced some trees that actually are bearing the berries, you know, so attract some urban birds into the urban area. We want to make the KL become a city arboretum. And the entire idea is to create like a springboard for the birds to fly from KLCC Park, you know, to Pavilions and TRX area, and also the surrounding. And want to establish an effective and efficient ecological corridors. When you look back the KL map in 1988, you can see the KL is basically cover more than half of the green spaces, but due to the rapid development in 2014, a 45% reduction of green coverage in KL city. So we appointed by DBKL to draw up design guidelines, you know, for the landscape, to create more how to connect from one point to another areas by creating a green corridors. So by 2030, hopefully we can achieve something like this. So this is the end products that we will want to achieve it. At least we bring out 5% bird species in KL city, improve biodiversity index. The second project, Alila 2 in Penang, at Tanjung Bunga, and then this was located at higher point of Tanjung Bunga areas and looking toward the Batu Fringi site. The day one when we entered to the site, we listened to the sound of nature. We talked to them, temporarily we need to migrate them to other areas. You know, after we complete, we welcome them back again. Then how we achieve it, by the step day one we enter, we feel like it just stepped into the Paradise Gardens. So the mountain, the iconic mountain represents the building, and the river itself represents the roads winding up. So the entire feeling, you can see that the building we call Sky Paradise. After the ground levels of the lobby, we call it ground paradise areas. Along the journey up, there is all the garden pocket spaces. So out of 9.8 acres of lands, 3.4 acres is reserved spot of the natural hill. So from the bottom up to the top of the lobby areas, there's no laser pointer, isn't it? Okay, in number 16, is about change of level about 30-meter hikes. The entire route itself about 300 meter long. So the day one when we construct this, we talk to the engineer, don't paint any paint on the structure itself. We would like to adopt the biophilic approach into the structures. So what we do is that we introduce left and right hand side planter boxes and also allow the creeper to creep on the structure itself. And then this is the first year that we do it. And the second year, they grow something like this. You know, so how it blends with the surrounding landscape as well, because there are a lot of retaining wall at the side. And then the other corners that we can see that actually this is the portion, the terrace garden areas. That's actually to walk up from the bottom outwards is about 275 steps, 3 steps more than Batu Cave step, you know? And then when doing construction, we make this kind of the boulders. So we want to create the retaining wall to soften up. So we have introduced this kind of the landscape idea to cover basically all the retaining wall. And then we also introduced the peacock flowers to attract back the butterflies. So this kind of mood that you cut through from the bottom to the lobby areas. And another pavilion is that we design, make it more translucent because we respect to the nature. We want to bring the landscape close to the site itself and also respect the existing boulders. And then when it comes to lobby, and then this designed by the architects, you know, into the lobby areas, but we try to bring more natural lightings and ventilations, and including the kid corner as well. So another rooftop actually on the top areas, we have a freehand to entire design, including the clubhouse and interior design. So what we do is that we purposely tuck the swimming pool at the edge of the building line. So this is kind of impact that we want to achieve it. You know, so we bring the, we create the aqueduct 4 numbers that represent the nature of the waterfall. And then in the aqua gym area, when you swim inside the pool, we can see that it's surrounded by the natural hill. So the year one, when we complete this jacuzzi areas, looking toward the outside. But this is, during pandemic, I went there, and then I took this video. You know, it's like already covered like it's part of nature. And then when we construct this the clubhouse, we tell architect we don't want the wall, you know, so we want to create the wall as part of the hill that we borrow the landscape view to the side and also involve part of the interior design on these 8 corners. And this is what we promise to the nature, that with 3.4 acres of land we preserve, that after that, this is all the habitat and insect will welcome them back again, except the butterfly, because that time I don't have iPhone 15. Hope you like it. At the end, there's the end of my presentation. But yeah, we have a book to launch because Twan told me that we can launch have the book section. So today, if you have only for the audience for today's normal days that we sell at 240, you know, but today is special for PAM members, 150 only. You can get it from outside. Yeah, and then if you buy from the Kuala Lumpur or Penang bookstore, you get the price. Thank you. And also get Dr. Tan to help me to promote the book inside their online bookstore, right? Dr. Tan, thank you.
Thank you, landscape architect Phua. Think do buy the book. If you buy the book today, you also can get the signature from him. Last but not least is our technologist, Vincent, the Vice President from MGBC, and he will be talking about the understanding the true meaning of green buildings. Please welcome Vincent.
Thank you very much, Architect Sali. Now, before I start, just a quick one for you all to understand what is green. So if we change time to green, my time is up already, all right? 10 minutes per person, 5 of us, we have 50 minutes. The speaker already speak for 50 minutes. If we change this into carbon, that means the carbon capacity already met. The only one that speak for 8 minutes is JJ. If we do carbon trading today, that means we incentivize him and we tax the rest. But then what happens to all of you? You all still have to wait here for the extra time. So carbon trading is not really working, right? So that's why we want to start with, we start the time now. Dr. Suchi is very sharp at the time, you know, I see her look at the phone. Understanding the true meaning of green building. How to understand, right? Because green building is very blur, right? Just like now, you can't see it clearly. I hope that after my sharing today, you all know what is green building better. Yesterday, when I was going through my slides, I realized that I have become a facilitator for 10 years, okay? How many of you have become a facilitator for 10 years? All right, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. All right, thank you very much. So, oh, okay. Sorry, too excited. How many of you have dealt with green building projects before? Right, at least one? Anyone, right? There's some here, right? I think there's about 100 people here. There's less than 10 people that actually apply one green building project. Why is that so? I think you all should try. How many of you do more than 10 projects before? Right, also there's few, Gregus is there. Okay, what about, sorry, the slide a bit heavy. More than 30 projects? Right, cannot imagine maybe, right? Only some, right, the real facilitators there. More than 100 projects? Right, can you imagine? Right, I did about 100 projects, okay, on and off. If you look at the GBI data, there's 1,300 projects registered with GBI, 696 actually got a DA or CVA. So my involvement is about 10% of all these projects. So whatever I tell you is true, I'm not bullshitting you. What is green building? Right, all of you will see this. Green building is a practice of creation, structure that are energy efficient, resource efficient, and environmental responsible. This, for those that haven't do green building before, this is what green building is. This is strictly for education purpose only. Today, if you tell people green building is this, people will not buy your building. People will not go for green, okay? Now, then what are the approach to tell people what is green? People tell you green building is about savings. The client, the developer say, I don't care about saving, I'm selling my building, okay? We talk about ROI, you know, if you do a green building, you can actually get money back. It's an investment, you're making money. I don't care about ROI, I talk about how much money I need to spend first. They talk about CAPEX, right? Install solar panel is very expensive. When we tell a client, you can actually do PPA now, you don't need to spend money, they can actually install solar panel for you for free. They say no, we still don't want. So it's not about CAPEX. Just now we talked about OPEX, right? How to maintain a green building. Maintaining a green building is expensive, so they don't want green building. No matter what benefit you tell them, they will just tell you no, because they don't like it. So is green building about certification, right? Just now I think the first speaker actually mentioned, is it just about certification and things like that? Now, for those who are not in dealing with green before, you will see all this logo before. I'll just do a quick explanation to you. Have you all heard about LEED? Right? LEED is a green building tool by US, one of the first one. Then we have CASB for Japan. So different countries come up with different tools to address different climate, different needs, different contexts. Then we have Green Mark 2005 from Singapore, which is very common. When we first want to do green building, a lot of people actually do Green Mark, LEED in Malaysia. In 2009, we have GBI. So it's something that designed for Malaysia to apply by PAM and ACEM. We have Green RE, another green rating tool developed by the developers under radar. We have Green Pass, created by BC and then used by SEDA to monitor buildings. MyCREST by CIDB. Then you have PHJKR, Penarapan Hijau JKR by JKR for JKR buildings. Meterai Hijau. So now Malacca start to come up with a tool, modify a little bit. They have their own tool, right? In JB, they start to adopt CASB. They modify it a little bit. It becomes a Johor tool. There's CASB Iskandar. And now for people that wants to apply a green building with lowest cost possible just to get a paper, they'll try to go for H, right? So sometimes we have this kind of reaction. What are you trying to do? Right? Why are we having so many green building rating tools? Because each of us want to speak our own language. We don't want to talk to each other, right? You follow my English, we talk about Bahasa, you speak my Mandarin. As long as we do our own thing. We have Veritas Green Check also. So sometimes it creates a situation like this, you know, we call it Kai Thong Ngap Gong, right? It's like chicken talking to the duck. Sustainability is very different from one person to another person, different perspective, as mentioned by Steve. So in reality, I think actually nobody cares, right? Everybody just say, I don't care about green. It's just a certificate. Now, when we want to go for a certification, when we want to green a building, right? You want to choose the easy way or the hard way? Easy way, raise up your hand. One person raise up, 2% raise up, the rest I think a bit shy. Hard way, nobody wants the hard way, 2% wants the easy way, right? But actually I think both also wrong. First, you need to find the right way first, right? You need to know what you want for green building. If you don't know what you want, you just choose the easy one, then it's not, the effect is not correct. This is an image I saw on Instagram, a very nice photo by KK Tan Mobilegraphy, right? What building is this? Is it a high-end building or low-end building? Right, the picture looked very nice, very clean, but it looks like a low-cost building, right? No features, flat, just small little windows. The bottom of the photos will show you this, right? And I think the image actually straight away tells us the impact. We need shading to reduce heat. It's a very simple thing to do, but no one does it. Because we just think, we just want to cut costs and things like that. Once you look at the image, you know it is much cooler there. You want to be there, right? So we talk about reducing heat. Sometimes we have many strategies. You go for green building rating tools, they say how to reduce urban heat island. We ask people to change premix into lightweight, light color concrete blocks, pavers, so it's lighter color. We use grasscrete and things like that. But at the end, I think the shade from the tree plays the best role. 2 more minutes, huh? Very fast. Yesterday, I was walking on the street, and suddenly I saw some trees. I just stand there, right? Just like what Mr. Phua mentioned. It actually cools you down by 4 to 5 degrees. So trees are very important. Shading is very important in buildings also. But most of us, once we have any issue, we will just say, oh, DBKL, there's a tree fall down, we should chop off the tree. We are not solving issues. We are just trying to make the easy way out. Find out what you want, then you can do better. This is a photograph that I take in Beijing. So you can see the walkway is very well shaded. There's a big walkway for you to walk, and it allows people to walk rather than just drive. You give people the correct option to do what they want. In Malaysia, it's different. We have a small little walkway with all these curbs. Nobody can walk there, and we say people don't like to walk. There's no trees, no shade. They expect you to walk. How can you walk there? Right? E-bikes, in Beijing also, a lot of people are using e-bikes rather than cycling because the distance is a bit further. And how to encourage this? They actually have chargers along the way, right? You have these small little chargers for you to charge your bike. So all their Grab and things like that, they use e-bike. The tanglong there is not a tanglong, it's actually a sprinkler. So in case of fire, they can actually help you to put down the fire. So people actually put in things to solve the issue. Greeneries in buildings, some people like to complain that very hard to put greenery on high-rise and things like that. This is my old office. We have rented a space in Shah Alam. You can see that they can put in a lot of greens and it's really comfortable there, right? If you want to do it, you can achieve it. My office, so this is the office inside there. It's just a small office. What we do is basically a lifestyle when you want to go green. You need to be comfortable, use of daylight and things like that. And it's about how we design the space to allow all these things to happen. Finishing. If you look at I'm just rent this unit, it's an empty unit, square, you know, I use this building. When I look at the energy consumption, straight away I get full points of the GBI criteria, just because I use a fan during my operation. So a lot of us think that office building must have aircon, you know. You can use with a fan and aircon, you can save some energy. I just shifted to another office, and this office is a shop lot kind of thing with a lot of air wells and trees inside. So shop lot doesn't need to be a square shop lot like normal. It could bring in a lot of daylight and things like that. We don't need to turn on the lights. We just turn on the fans. We want aircon when it's hot so that we can cool down ourselves and be comfortable. We have a work buddy in case it's too stressed. So sometimes we just need to think, stop all these green things, all these wordings. How do you achieve green, you know? Just focus on the fundamentals. Going green is really simple. First, you talk about reduce what you don't need. Go for passive design, energy efficiency, then only solar, right? Don't go solar for the start. Solar is one of the last one. Rethink, and you must look at the building as a comfortable space. If it's not comfortable, it is just not good enough, right? If you can have a platinum building, but if it's not comfortable, it is not green. People don't want to work there. ESG come in, a lot of people go for green. Now you have all these sorts of rating, right? It's a lot of work to do. It's like this, Olympic, I'm sure you see this picture before, right? The fundamental is very important. If today you want to jump into green, you gear up all these things, it will be very costly. Look at the fundamentals. ESG reporting, you know. Every company now we have an ESG sustainability consultant. So what do? Do they do actions or things like that, right? End up, they just do some reporting. Or maybe, you know, when the more they dig, they collect more data, end up they say, oh, let's just change the data so that we comply. So green is a belief. No matter what I talk, no matter everyone, all the speakers, whatever they say, if you don't believe it, you will think that all this is fake. So if you choose not to believe in green, then you might miss out on this green as well. Okay? Yeah. What we built today actually defines our tomorrow. That's why going green. Architects plays a very important role. I think that's my last slide. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vincent. Don't go yet. We will have our moderation session now. Please take a seat. We would like to call on the previous speakers to actually come forward to answer the questions. How long do we have? 30 minutes? 30 minutes, okay. Oh, so I think there is a kind of a subtle narrative in the morning that there a sort of like reframing of what is green and looking at the back to basics, like what Vincent just showed, yeah. And it's a good thing that we slotted him before the break so that we end with a more of a festive note. So when we look at what Steve showed us, he mentioned a change of perspectives. And I think that is very important today, where we try to look at various scales and various types of approach to greening. And when JJ came up, he showed how it was done on a very firm scale base, and how it needs to start from the very first sketch that you do. And when we look at Twan's presentation, he was talking about how his case studies and actually building those buildings, what are the challenges that happened to him. And perhaps it became a bit contradictory as well, because at few of the first projects, the maintenance cost was high, but later on, he also reported that it became the feature of the building that the maintenance is lower and you can get lower energy costs and whatnot. And of course, when our landscape Phua talked about biophilia, things that not only perform very well, but integrate seamlessly with the urban scape, performing another very important aspect, which is to bring a nice aesthetic to the whole city, in addition to performing well in terms of sustainability. And of course, we ended with our very entertaining Vice President of MGBC, Vincent, whose presentation basically shows us that we need to go back to basics, and certifications are not the end all of everything. Yeah. So without further ado, I would like to call upon the audience if there's any questions with regards to today's presentation. We started a bit late, so maybe we have about 25 minutes of discussion. Yeah. While waiting for questions from the floor, I would like to just throw out this question. In fact, it's the first question that Steve just now put forward. If there is a need to improve green ratings or GBI, what is the thing that you want to improve about the system? Perhaps we start with more apt, our Vice President for MGBC.
Thank you, Sally, for the question. I think the first thing is just now I talked about is a language. People do not understand the green language now. So a lot of people, when they apply for GBI, for those of you who have heard about GBI or other rating tools, is GBI hard to achieve? Right, not sure.
They're shy to answer.
All right. Of course, you see, every now and then we receive calls, whether they want to go for green building, they say, I want to go for GBI or green IE or LEED. They say, I want the cheapest option. What they do is they just want the cheapest option, they just want the easiest option. So we always propose to them that let's go for GBI because it's good for you. The problem is when we go for meetings, the consultants actually is the culprit. The architect will say, why not go for green IE? It's easier. You know, that the engineer will say, why not go for green IE? It's easier to comply because everyone don't want to do more work. The easier it is, easier for them to apply. But I think that that's not the right way, lah. So the reason this thing came out is because the different understanding. If you ask me how to turn a building green, I would say it's very easy. The lack of understanding is the one that create problem. And I think that the best way to improve is how we educate people about GBI, make it more approachable, then I think we can definitely improve the ratings application to the public.
So the approachableness of the tool itself.
Yes.
Yes. And what the message it carries, yeah? Okay,
correct.
thank you. Landscape architect Paul? Any comments on that? Any? No? Okay. Architect Chee Twan.
Okay, in terms of GBI, to us, we have also been approached by developers asking us why not go for green RE. Their perception that green RE is easier to score. To us, like what Vincent was saying, it's the right tools that matters. And what we want is the benefit after the building is completed and not just the ratings. So that's my answer.
Okay. Before, because Steve, you're the originator of the question, I will go to JJ first.
Hello. My point about green rating tools is always about avoid greenwashing. So we don't talk about the upper standards. We don't talk about platinum. We don't talk about gold or silver. We just talk about the basic. Let's say, for example, certified or bronze. My point is, don't set the benchmark too low that the developer or whoever that builds a building can take advantage of that for greenwashing, for green branding. For example, for my project, one of the developer COO actually posed the question to consultants. Say, okay, without all the green building feature by itself, the passive design whatsoever that architects have done, the engineers have done, what are we at right now? So the green consultant actually replied that, okay, it achieves the basic minimum, it achieves the bronze level or the certified level. So then the conclusion was that by doing nothing, we can call our building a green building already. So that is what we try to advocate to avoid this, that to be a green building, there should be some features to it, there should be some special design to it, not just by setting the benchmark low enough that all the buildings can be green building.
So in terms of improvement to the tool or the approach of GBI, what is it to hire to improve the standard, or what?
Yes,
what are you saying?
To don't set the bottom line too low.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But the technical bit of GBI is based on our MS 1525 lah. So it is meant to be. I think your opinions are a bit at the crossroads, because Vincent's opinion is for accessibility, more commonality, which is setting the benchmark as a more approachable level. But yours is saying that, hey, should go higher. Okay, maybe it's you guys do a lot more platinum buildings and whatnot. Anyway, this, I think it's just a discussion. And I think this discussion was brought about by Steve's original question, because he's coming from a perspective of living building challenge. The living building challenge, of course, is much more stringent in its application, and wide. The umbrella of criteria is also wider. So maybe Steve, maybe you can elaborate or.
Yeah, I think before I talk about the LBC, I think the kind of discussion that we're having now, one of the biggest mistakes was made in 1972 when when the world started talking about this problem. They used the phrase sustainable development, right? So SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. That was a really bad way to frame the issue, because sustainable development is an adjective and a noun, right? Sustainable is the adjective, development is the noun. And the concept of sustainability cannot be an adjective, right? We're either sustainable or we're not. Sustainable means sustaining life on the planet. Biophilia is about creating conditions conducive to life. You either create conditions conducive to life or you don't create conditions conducive to life. Really what we should have been talking about back then was development and maldevelopment. When I was 7 years old, I broke my hand. It was on New Year's Eve. The guy that fixed my hand had to come from the Istana because he had a New Year's Eve party. My wrist was healing, but it was healing crooked, right? And so he then later had to break my arm again in order to make it straight. It was fine. Anesthetic, it was okay. But that's the issue that we have, right? Maldevelopment is where we're growing crooked, and it's so bad that it will end life on this planet. Okay, so the idea that sustainable development is like an option that we can go for is just very bad conceptually. It's not correct, right? And this is why we're ending up with a 4-degree world, probably a 6-degree world, where most of the planet is going to be uninhabitable. So there's a need to be a big change in thinking. Now, Jasin McClennan, who is the architect, who is lead in Oregon, asked the question as an architect: why do we build buildings that are less bad? Right, so each different municipal, you've got different levels of code, and then you've got bronze, and then you've got silver, and then you've got gold, and then you've got platinum, right? All of these are less bad. He just asked the question, why don't we just build buildings that are good, right? And that definition needs to be answered by the professionals, which is the architects. So let me just tell you another story about me. I studied medicine, and next year is 40 years from when we finish finals. Okay, I never practiced as a doctor, but we have a reunion of my year next year, 40 years on. So far, I've discovered that 2 of my colleagues, my classmates, who have had 40 years working as a doctor in England, in the NHS, 2 of them have been sacked as doctors because they became NHS whistleblowers. So healthcare in England, just like everywhere in the world, has been taken over by investors and managers who care about the bottom line more than they do about the healthcare of patients. So one of them said, we are doing amputations of patients with leg injuries from road traffic accidents who have to have amputations because they did not see a doctor in time. They were waiting in the hospital for a week, 2 weeks. And he said, this is just crazy, right? This is England, right? Not a third world country, so-called. And he got sacked, right? So one of the things I think that is imperative if we are, have a chance of surviving is that the professionals need to take back the agenda from the investors, the managers, the other people, right? You guys, I think, need to set the agenda. You're very, very important to what happens in the future. I don't know if that helps.
I think for me, at least, it resonates very well because I think regardless of what tools we use, the tool is not important. It's actually the people that using the tool is more important. And I think a lot of the issues nowadays is that the professionals themselves are actually not very well versed and do not really understand what they're doing. But of course, being a consultant, you cannot say, I don't know, to your client. You always say, oh, okay, I actually use this, but they're actually maybe giving the wrong advice. So I tend to, if it's a consolidative view, it's right what Vincent says. I mean, like, more people should understand. And of course, the agenda should be taken back by professionals. Because professionals, maybe take it for granted that, there is a tool. But it's not the tool that actually does the job. It's you who are actually implementing the tool to do well. there's different ways. I mean, like there's different ways to skin a cat. We were this morning before the talk. We were talking a lot about building performance and whatnot, and some of them was asking about how much money we spend on running this PAM center, and we said it's very minuscule compared to a building of equal size, simply because this is a platinum building, and a lot of the materials that is used is very self-maintaining, like all the bricks, like all the walls. You don't have to repaint, you don't have to do things. So at the end of the day, you have platinum buildings which are very technologically focused, which needs constant maintenance. So how you skin a cat also is very important. Many ways to do it. So I don't want to be just doing us the discussion. Let's hear some questions from the floor, if there are any. Yeah. Oh yeah, please do add. Yeah. You.
Because I'm only landscape architect here, so when it
No.
comes, because
You're not only landscape architect.
Inch is here. No, I'm just curious because I'm not the GBI panels, but we do involve about a project for GBI buildings with the architects and the rest of the consultants. And normally when it comes to landscape, they always emphasize 25% of the planting unit will be herbs. You know, so by the end of the day, we try to fulfill all the scored marks, like you need to achieve this marks. There are a lot of criteria, probably recycling certain materials. Our Alila actually got the GBI goal, you know, because we managed to recycle the driftwood and the dry lutein as part of fertilizer to be used. Yeah, but it's just curious, but certain projects, after probably first you get a goal, but after 1-2 years, probably integrated into all the maintenance, you know, and certain design into our MAE, probably not functional. Is that still remain at the gold standard, or you can be downgraded? I'm just curious because I know the GBI panels. So how you judge on this?
Well, we have a renewal every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
Yeah. So I think that is one of the. In fact, during the inception of the tool, that was one of the key things that was integrated. At that time, some of the tools did not have a renewal. Like for example, LEED, they just continued forever being a green building. But GBI being, we know Malaysians, we know the Malaysian context, we need to do that. 3 years renewal. And I think LEED version 3 did follow. Maybe Vincent, who has done more facilitation, can comment. LEED version 3 followed renewals right now?
Not too sure. Sorry.
Not too sure, okay. Yes, Dr. Tan is here. Okay. So, any questions from the floor? Yes, please. One. Please identify yourself and ask your questions.
Assalamualaikum and good morning still. I'm Salmia from University Malaysia Kelantan. Currently I'm doing my PhD in green design, green building. So actually I have a few questions regarding green design and also smart system integration in green building. So for my first question, what were the primary goals or objective when conceptualizing and developing a green building or nearly zero energy building? That's my first question. The second question, so this more like the basic methods to achieve green building, what we can do to design a green building, more like the fundamentals, like for the keys, for the guideline, what we could do as an architect or designer to design a green building. And the third question regarding the performance monitoring and also maintaining and also evaluation in terms of green building. What measures or tools are in place to monitor the building energy performance and overall efficiency for a commercial buildings in overall? That's my 3 questions. But if the speaker would like me to repeat again, I can repeat again the question. Yeah, that's all.
Puan Salmia, so I know you're doing the research. This is all your research question now, basically.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to actually. If all the speaker will answer all the questions, it's going to be like a answering, doing your thesis lah. But maybe we can just get one question from you so that maybe it's the first one.
More like the fundamental for the green building, what we could do in order to design a good green building.
So what is the most important fundamental?
Yes,
there's a lot of fundamentals.
fundamental,
So
yes.
maybe what is the most important fundamental? Maybe we can start with Architect Twan, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, I think I've shared some case studies. Of course, we have been involved in a lot of projects that we will recommend the client to go for green building. Fundamentals definitely is because the benefits are there, and to design a green building, a lot of times for an architect, we need to look at the passive design. We start off with the passive design before we go to other components. I will cut things short. Technically, actually, it's for everyone to really understand and on how to design a green building. You should go to GBI, sign up. I think you should sign up. Then you can understand all the aspects, all the criteria before you design a building.
So design is the most important fundamental. Phua, maybe we finish this side first. Any response to that?
Everyone need to answer.
Oh, if you want to, I mean, like, you want to answer? What's the most important fundamental?
It's also good to remember that Malaysia was full of green buildings, right? So you go to any kampong and you'll see green buildings there, right? So we've overcomplicated things unnecessarily, but those are the fundamentals, right? So it's made up of building materials that are completely non-toxic. That's one of the things that is part of the LBC. When the LBC decided we should have non-toxic materials as part of our buildings, they suddenly realized that we do not know what is in building materials. So that created a whole new industry in redefining building materials. Maybe your sponsor could have a look at that also. But yeah, I mean, the fundamentals, we know the fundamentals actually, right? We just have to unlearn a lot of the things that we think are clever.
Yeah, I concur with
Ditto. Interesting thing as well, kampongs have most of the best lessons in terms of passive design and vernacular design. So it is inherent in our heritage. Unfortunately, it has been forgotten. So I think that is the thing, passive design and materiality from our vernacular. Yeah, please.
Just ask the GBI panels. Is the happiness is part of the measure for the residents or the occupants of the buildings?
It's not in the tools, but I think it is the most important thing, right? When we talk about sustainability and all, if you're not happy, what's sustainability about? So, but happy is very hard to measure.
Yeah.
So sometimes, sometimes we look at buildings. We say that there are so many green buildings out there. How do you know which one is green building? Do you just look at the cert? Or actually you feel good when you go there? So I think the feel good is very important. You go there, you feel happy, you want to work there, then that is a green building. That's the first criteria. There are green buildings that you go in, you are sweating, and they say, oh, we are going green, we want to save energy. When you go to the toilet, there's no tissue paper, there's no water, they say, oh, we are going green. You want to stay in that building? Right? I can give you a platinum. Some buildings, they say, we turn off all the lights and energy so that it's green, but you can't work inside. It's not logic. So I think it's workability and how you adapt it. To answer your question just now, what is the fundamental of green building? The first thing is reduce. Reduce. If you don't need to build, don't build. Right? This building is a very good example. If the corridor don't need to be aircon, don't aircon it. You save energy. It becomes green. You don't need money, you save money. You don't need to install aircon. There's more open space. So reduce is the keyword. I always like to use this analogy. think of green building as a healthy person. How do you define what is a healthy person? We have a blood test report. Everybody have a different blood range. But how do you be healthy? You can exercise, you can eat healthily, you can eat a lot of vitamins, you can change everything to electronic. So different people have different approach. Just use the easiest way that is good for you, then you will be healthy. Last thing, usually I like to show this slide, but I got no time. It's only 10 minutes. I would always say my grandfather is the first green consultant that I know, because he built his own rumah kampung. There's natural ventilation, natural daylighting. They have rainwater harvesting, grey water recycling, plant food for themselves. All this thing is green. You go to kampung, it's already very green. But in today's reality, you say, oh, green material, I need to import from US. That is the kind of thing that we are facing. Thank you.
So it's understanding as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you for your input. Any other additions to that? Yeah. No. 3 more minutes. Okay, perhaps one last question. Yes, sir. Okay, maybe 2 last questions, Dr. Chee, because
I'm Nazri. Just this question. I mean, we meant to understand that GBI or green building, we've been talking about over the last more than 10 years. And it was interesting to see some of the presentation was saying that to have a green building, you are talking about between 8 to 10% more in terms of cost. Does that cost still going up or still maintain after 10 or 12 years, or is there possibilities of it coming down? So unless it is coming down, then the response to have green building would not be there. It would be where it is right now. So in terms of the cost, is it to have that? Is it still going to be 8 to 10% more, or can in the future it should be coming down with new technology, new material,
yes,
new research R&D and whatnot?
Okay, I see we have our GBI head here who's putting his hand up to answer your question.
Morning, everyone. Okay, just to answer your question, we have 14 years of data right now. Fundamentally,
maybe Architect Chan, you should introduce your role and
sorry,
who you are for those. I know everybody knows you, but maybe.
Yeah, okay. I'm currently the chairman of the GBI accreditation panel. I don't know what that means. Anyway, just what we do is actually we just check all the certification of green buildings. So we have about 14 years of data. Most of the certified buildings, whether they are commercial or not, the cost is less than 1%. Okay? 1 to maybe if a badly done building or came in late, or they started to try to green it late, then it's about 5%, the highest one. Majority around 1%. The 8%, I don't know where you got that figure from. It's typical of a lot of architects. When somebody say, client say, hey, can we get the green building to go green? Oh, expensive. 30%. The worst are the QS. They'll come back and say, oh, 30%, 40%. Our data shows platinum building, not, not gold building. Platinum and gold building, less than 8%. I don't know where they got all this type of figure from. Because they don't know anything, bullshit come out. So this is the clear problem. I think in terms of addressing the problem, I think our chairman of the ESG committee also, along with Architect Boon, they try to address the issue of why still cannot do green buildings. Because, like Vincent said, only 10% of architects actually understand what are green buildings. So the last GBI board, board of, including Dr. Tan, he's in the board of the GSB, the governing body of GBI. They have decided that we need to actually educate architects about what are green buildings. So we have already set up a training program now. So to whether you want to be a certified green building as a consultant or not, up to you lah. We will start sometime in the third quarter, 1 module per month. You just need to sign up. After you completed 6 modules, if you can take the exam, if you pass it, you can be a green building consultant, just like Vincent is lah. Okay, but I'm sure many of you don't want to be green building consultant because what happened? Your client say, oh, you now green building consultant, you do for free lah. So you all don't want to do that right now. So you do for other people lah, don't do it for your own building lah. But what you can do is actually once you have that knowledge, you can actually skillfully design green building. Okay, the word is skill because you know, a lot of us architects, we like to do things intuitively. We thought we are champion, or everything can do, you know, but actually no lah. Because if you're not able to benchmark your building properly, you could be like Vincent say, design nice building, wow, hot inside like hell. Hot inside, you know, typical developer say, taruh lah more aircon. So that's not the right way of doing it, isn't it? If you design a building very badly in the tropical climate, inside will be hot and humid.
Correct.
Is that a good building? Can ma taruh more aircon lah, like the typical contract.
Thank you, Architect Chee. I know you are very passionate about this, but
Okay, so
we have one more question. We have answered about the cost.
The other one would be, we are also, the board has already approved, if you are a green building consultant, if you are an architect or an ACM member, PAM or ACM member, you can apply for 20% reduction in the registration fee.
Correct.
So the developer like that lah. So these are the 2 key things we are doing right now. So hopefully more of you will come in and learn about green buildings and apply it to your own design lah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
very much.
Doc, you want to say something?
Sorry, overkill.
Dr. Tan, Pam, I think what we are seeing, one of the reasons why we are actually trying to readdress the whole crux of the matter is climate change. You know, rating and doing buildings, they're all just part and parcel. You know, you either believe that there's climate change is real or it's not. Many years ago, like 10 years ago, the world was going towards globalization. And when China rose up, globalization died. America is the main culprit. They ended all this because they cannot compete. So everyone became very nationalistic. So in some sense, it was very good. Foreign architects were coming in, you know, foreign consultants. Suddenly it all died because now we're all protecting our borders again, nationalistic. In November, you cannot not look at what's happening in America. In November, we could have a new president in the US. I'm actually a MAGA supporter. But there's one thing I totally don't agree with him. He does not believe in climate change, which I find so remarkable that, you know, he's hanging around with Elon Musk now, and yet he does not believe in climate change. I see a big challenge coming to architects, to people who love the environment and believe that we need to create a better future. Already, I think Vincent showed so many tools. Malaysia really, sometimes I think they got nothing to do, you know. We all just want to do something that, you know, in some sense, shocks and diri lah. And we have confused, we have muddied the waters. Now with ESGs coming in, it has become totally like just ticking the boxes. The whole idea of climate change and saving the world is sort of, you know, gone behind. If November, we do have a new president in America, I think the whole issue of climate change will be even, you know, more muddied in that sense, to the extent that it might not even, you know, the days of looking at destruction of the earth will become clearer and clearer. So what we are doing now, and I'm so glad that, you know, this is actually going on, and we are going to continue this and ramp it up for the next year, is to actually address climate change. And if you understand and agree that climate change is real, then green buildings make sense. If you don't, then it's just a chore. Okay, I think that's where we need to change our mindset. Thanks.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, we have the gentleman at the back. Last question, right? Yes, please. Can you pass the mic, Fiza?
Hi, I'm an architect down here. Well, congratulations. I think that's an excellent panel of speakers. My question though is just probably Dr. McCoy. I think the main problem with all of this is the public awareness in Malaysia itself. Having to see some of the people of our generation, especially the ones above us, cutting down trees and not being aware of it. I think the younger generations now, millennials or Gen Z, what do you call them, are getting more aware. So I think my question is, how do you propose to advertise or market the idea of what you have regarding, especially after Paris Agreement, 2-degree rise that will be affecting the world? Just want to know what politically, I suppose, how are you going to advertise through, news, media, social media? I think that will really help the architects. Now, that's my first comment. Second comment is just basically, as architects, I think we need to just go back to the basics. You all mentioned about the kampong houses with the air vents. Those are days when we had the colonial houses. They're all the air vents. Hot air risers. So as an architect, I always do that, proposing air vent holes. And it works. You can live with a fan. It's about 2 to 3 degrees lower. So I just love to see that more of that being done in, especially public housing, in high rises even. Yeah, you'll save a lot on aircon. Basically, just to let you know that.
Right. Thank you, Architect Tan. So basically, you have 2 comments, right? Is there? Yeah. Oh.
But the first one is the most important. Is what can we do to have greater public awareness, especially the developers, the users, end users of the houses that we build.
What can we do to have greater public awareness, especially with regard to communicating with developers? Yeah. I think MGBC is supposed to be the body that's actually promoting green building. Maybe this is an apt question for you, Vincent.
Okay. As an NGO, we have been working very hard to promote green through education, seminars, and things like that. But it's still not reaching out. Because the problem is whatever they listen here, the developers come, they listen, they go back, they ask their consultant, what's the cost? Architects, is it hard to comply? The architects say, yes, very hard. Okay, then they forget about it. So the best thing, I think, is everyone in the room, not just listen, but try to understand, and you are actually part of the education system itself. If we together tell the client the same thing, we can actually achieve that goal. So the main idea is to understand what are we going for. Are we just going for a rating tool, or are we going for something green that can actually benefit the client? And so it will become better. I've been trying to tell a lot of people, like bankers. Now, in 2022, 2023, a lot of green building, the green building is on the rise because bank is giving green financing to buildings. So now you no longer need to look for developers and say, do you want to green your building? They come to you. I want to green my building. Just give me a cert so that I can apply for loan. But nobody explained to them what is green really about and why you should do this. All of them just talk about, this is the house, we have 4 windows, 2 doors, this is the unit. I always tell the developer, when you want to market your building, do you just show them a green building rating cert and say this building is green? You are telling people, oh, if I stay in the house, there will be good daylighting, there will be good ventilation. If you don't comply to any of this, how do you sell your building? So then they start to think, oh yeah, I cannot just show the cert and tell people it's green. So with the team, actually, the consultants, the architect, the engineer, if all of us come together, we can make this a successful case to promote green together. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave it at that because we are already behind time. We have a tea break. How many minutes? 20 minutes. 20 minutes of tea break, and then please return here. For the speakers, we'll have like a short photo while they have their tea break. Yeah. Who is very familiar here at PAM? He just returned from Indonesia. He'll be also talking about urban farming, and of course, last but not least, we have Town Planner Haji Nazri Noordin, the past president for MIIP, and he will be talking about planning and the green guidelines related to it. So without further ado, we would like to warmly welcome Mr. Inch Lim, the renowned landscape architect. A big round of applause, everybody. Thank you, Inch. Please.
Is everybody in who wants to come in? Whoever wants to come in. Okay. Okay. Everybody settled? Shall I wait for any more people? Are they coming in? Okay, let's start. This is the subject I was given, and I was a bit mystified because I thought temporary gardens and transitional spaces, they're not very green, but whatever it is, I decided that I can talk on that. Right, so that's me. Oh, let's get out there. You see, transitional spaces, you know, these are temporary structures, and we all know about that. And since I'm talking to architects, I pretend to I know about the Serpentine Gallery. And the Serpentine Gallery, every year you got an architect that comes along and create a new pavilion. There you are. This is Serpentine Gallery. And you see, what happens is in landscape world, there's something called garden shows. And the garden shows are getting more and more popular. They started with Chelsea in England, which was actually a market for flowers, and then eventually turned out into these enormous shows that hundreds of thousands of people want to go and visit. Sorry. So then, you know, they started doing this all over the world, and they are always temporary gardens, and they are always in transitional spaces. So I've done a lot of them by default, and I'm going to show you some of them. And I'm sure if anybody has heard me speak, they might have already seen these before, so I'm not trying to bore you. So this is one that we did in China. And it's always about, you know, relating. For me, it's about how you relate to the local culture and local. So these are the ones that that was my last one in Shanghai. That was some time ago, and we thought that how wonderful it is to transform that into architecture. So these are all little transitional gardens. They look permanent, and sometimes they become permanent, but generally they're transitional. That's also transitional. I don't think anybody's ever seen that. We did two interesting balconies. These are balconies. So with this, we can, you see, this is what we do. We move the floor around. We move the things around, so you can move the kitchen around, and that is that's a library. That's an open library. So these can be transitional, or they can be permanent. This one, I did a journey to France. This I did in Singapore, and then later on I met all these French people, and they invited me to this enormous, gorgeous place called Chamon-sur-Loire. Shomo Solua has these, they feature interesting landscapes and landscape art, right? So they've done this. So some people have become very famous. You know, the guy who did this, willow statues have become very famous out of it. These, I haven't become very famous, but I hope one day I will. So, yeah, they invite people whom they think are reasonably good. So we did this. I don't know whether anybody's seen this? Put up your hand if you have. One. Yeah. Okay, so we did this because I wanted to do Malaysian garden. And that this Malaysian garden becomes, if you look at this, is all made from old jeans. And you know, the most difficult part of this garden to do is actually these old jeans. Because I thought old jeans are very easy. People will just give it to you, and they collect in thrift shops. But you know, when you go to France, apparently no old jeans are available. So we had to make do. That's interesting. Right, so this is all about, you know, about using the Megamendong pattern and then floating these things as, you know, floating planters that are Megamendong. And then having the right and the left, the black and the white, the yin and the yang. And this was really quite successful because these were supposed to be temporary gardens, but they kept this for 1 year and they've asked me to go back and do a permanent one. Okay, so these are, sorry, we're going backwards. Okay, so this is me, I think. That's me, and that's the chairman of the organization and the president of Loire region. All right, so this is the one that I really want to talk about. That was all preamble. Last year, actually it was this year. So this year it's fresh off the, actually this is a bit about how you build these things, right? So this year was, this was a site that we're given, and we were asked to create something that has to do with China. China wanted this, you know, China I think is going through a bit of a tough time, so they wanted to showcase something that's Chinese, but also it's all about the Chinese pride in being Chinese, right? So we looked at that, and we looked at that, and we created that, and we said, okay, what about that, right? What about that as a garden? What about that as a garden? So we gave them a choice. Usually, you know, our clients are like, right? Oh yeah, you know, you got this. We like it, but can you give us another one? So this is the side. So we gave them another one, which they were even more happy with. And so this is the concept. Chinese garden. We decided that there were two parts of the garden. One was outside, that appeals to the world, and the outside, which is the serene part of Chinese, the interior. So this is what it looks like. This part is the exterior, and that part is the interior. And there's a very narrow entrance into that. So that's what do you, oh, sorry, oh dear. Right, so this is the plan. You actually, we walked through here and we walked out there. It's a very small garden, but it appears very big. And that's how we're going to do the outside. We had to go everywhere to look for everything and look for inspiration, colors, motifs, color palette, plant palette. So this was what we ended up. So in progress, hey, what happened? This is the part of China that we had to go to look for everything. So we had to go, I think from here, we had to go there, then we had to go there, come back. And this is us discussing this. This is us deciding on color palette. This is the journey that we had to take. It was absolutely. So I think that that journey is like from Singapore to Penang, or even further. It just seems, everything just seems so much bigger in China. Maybe it is. So we discovered local cuisine. There's a very interesting thing. I don't think anybody's ever seen it. They built this out of clay. They start a fire, and they throw everything in there. And then they start scraping everything, bury everything, and then we ate all these things. Oh, sorry, I'll keep pressing the wrong button. We visited this very interesting place. This place, okay, let me tell you where we are. We are near Swat Tower, Shantou, if anybody knows. And this is a very interesting building because this was built by a Thai overseas Chinese. He's gone back and he built this huge, enormous mansion that's falling to bits because nobody. Oh, I've only got 2 more minutes. Oh dear. All right. Okay, we found this. Then we found big slabs of stones. Then we found that. Then we started building it. And then this is what it looks like. 1 more minute. So you can see that this is the outside and that's the inside. Then we did that, and we are building it. It's okay, and we used local material. We did the planting, and the completion. We completed it. It was like that, and it was highly popular. The director of the Botanic Garden said that this was the best garden. And that was how it was built. Okay. So that's what it looks like. And what happened is that with these gardens, there are 2 things that can happen to them, just like the Serpentine Gallery. Somebody can, oh yes, we forgot this. So we finished, and then we got all the city mayors and all that coming to visit. And okay, those are the VIPs. And then we got a huge medal for our garden. And that's the lady that's in charge of this, the district council. And so we got that, and we got that, which is a medal. But that's not important. That's me. And then we went to the karaoke. That's important. So what happens is that you see, usually with these gardens, and I want to pretend that it's green, which is not, because the labor is wasted. But what it does is that it helps people learn about garden, how to build gardens, and it's about how to design gardens. But you've got this situation where you are taking it away, and what we did when we designed it was that we built the whole structure out of scaffolding. Right? We put everything on the scaffolding. We disguise the scaffold so you can't see the scaffold. So if you go back, for example, to look at all this beautiful garden, all that's under scaffolding. Everything is built on scaffolding. Right? Which one is forward and which one is backward? Right? And so we sold the tree. The tree was sold almost immediately because it was so beautiful. The stones are on the way to Malaysia, to a client in Malaysia. The flowers all went back to the nursery, and the scaffolding is gone back to being used as scaffolding. So even though it looks like it's very unfriendly, very ungreen, I think that I would say that the money or whatever, the energy they spend, is spent on, is it 1 minute? On, are we finished? Oh, I've got 1 more minute. Okay, so it all went to different places and it's all taken apart. Now, I'm going to use 1 minute to plug my book. This is my book. It has everything in it. It has all kinds of wonderful work that you can see. The work is everywhere in the world. It could be in Japan, it could be in Singapore, it could be in America, it could be in China, it could be in Japan. So we've got some gorgeous work there. That was the French one. If you have the money, please do buy a copy. Is 1 minute gone? Right, okay. Thank you, everybody. I hope that was helpful in some way.
Thank you, Inch, for the wonderful talk. Just now, landscape architect Phua gave some discount. Maybe you can give some discount for your book, lah. So, moving on to our next speaker, our lawyer, Miss Julia Jasin, who is the CEO of Legal Nights Consultancy. She will be presenting about urban farming in the lifestyle of tomorrow. Without further ado, please welcome Miss Julia.
Thank you very much, and a good afternoon all. I've started my clock for 10 minutes. So, yeah, oh, okay. Too fast. Right. Now, yeah, as I've been introduced, I'm a lawyer. So, I'm sure you're wondering what on earth is a lawyer doing on the stage talking about urban farming. So, just a little bit of an introduction. This is actually a hard topic for me, Dr. Suchi, and given 10 minutes to speak about it, and I've had the privilege, I just want to say this, I've had the privilege to have a conversation with my now guru in architecture, A.R. Mustapha. I'd like to thank him because I had to have some guidance on what should I speak about when we want to speak about urban farming. So I'm so used to speak about ESG to so many fraternities and disciplines, but not to a group of esteemed and very credible architects. So bear with me. So my topic today would be on urban farming in the lifestyle of tomorrow. So lifestyle, what does lifestyle means? It can mean anything, yeah? You know, your lifestyle is really dependent on you as to what you define it to be. So I'd just like to bring you back a bit to your mission statement. So I discovered this on PAM's website. So your mission statement would be to promote the advancement of architecture and the architectural profession for the betterment of society. So I define this, you know, lawyers love to define words, right? So I define this as an improved green lifestyle where you, as the architects of today and tomorrow, play a very, very critical role. And I've been enlightened by my guru that this is really in your DNA. You have had ESG as your DNA from day one. You know what it is. Maybe you've just not realized it enough. So I would like to recommend PAM today to take a very, very positive and advanced role to be at the forefront to promote ESG as a very important element of the profession. Right. About GBI, a lot of our, or many of our speakers today spoke about what GBI is. So I'm not going to go into detail about it, but just wanted to highlight that it's all about promoting sustainability and awareness of environmental issues. So what I want you to remember out of my session today, relating to the question earlier from one of the speakers this morning about whether GBI is sufficient. Whether as a jumping dog, it is sufficient to fight the cause of climate change or climate crisis, if you like. So for me, GBI is a plus. Okay, you have to have GBI plus. It suffices as a tool, but it needs to be more add-ons to it. So this is where you play your role. Now, we are now at an era of
us being at a stage where we are beyond GBI platinum rated buildings. It's not enough for us to just have GBI platinum rated buildings. We have to have more. And I'd like to apologize, Dr. Suchi. I think my title should be Urban Farming as the Lifestyle of Today, not tomorrow, because our action starts today. We cannot wait for tomorrow, yeah? It needs to start now. And I'm not too sure about the crowd today, but I think many of us have not even started on the lifestyle of sustainability, even in our own houses. How many of you do waste segregation at home? Put your hands up. See? Congratulations, but why is it not everyone? We're too busy, right? I even fight with my mom on a daily basis. You know, I segregate all the plastics on one side, and then suddenly, the moment I turn my back, all the plastics are back in the general waste. So this is all about awareness. So my proposal to you today is that it is really the lifestyle of today. And I'm not going to tell you what urban means. We all know what urban means, but what on earth is urban farming? Are we talking about the typical farming, the conventional farming that we know? Yes, but within a more urbanized context. How many of you have seen this? The Sustainable Development Goals. Again, not everyone. Do you know how long this has been around? Since 2015. How many SDG? 17. And my question to the architects here today in this room, are your architectural designs SDG infused? If you are asked this question, are you able to answer this? If you are able to answer this, then you are the architect of today and tomorrow. If not, then I would recommend you to have some classes with A.R. Mustapha. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. Our planet is boiling. Yeah, it's not warming up, it is boiling, right? Okay, so sustainability is really about the triple P. It speaks about planet, profit, and people. So the triple bottom line is a sustainability framework. So this is the point where you start. Yeah? If you've not already started understanding sustainability in your design, so you need to start from the triple bottom line. So you need to ensure that your green expertise is at par with the global standards. Okay, do you know that growing plants promote emotional wellness, enhance overall life satisfaction, and even improve cognitive functions? Do you know that? How many of you have plants at home? Wonderful. Yeah, great. You need to have plants, even small pots of it, but not plastic plants, yeah, mind you. Please have real plants. We have enough plastics all over the place. Please have real plants. So according to WHO, access to green space and connecting with nature are beneficial to humans' mental well-being. We hear a lot about mental issues, right? Mental health, and we hear a lot of deaths everywhere where people take their lives because they couldn't handle the stress. So I just wondered to myself if having a lot more green space could help with this. But we're not just talking about any green. For those of you who, oh my God, 2 more minutes. I thought lawyers are difficult people to deal with, you know. But architects are even worse. You give me 10 minutes to speak about ESG. Okay, just this. You need to have plants that you can eat now, because we're also talking about food security, yeah? Okay, so my question to the esteemed architects here today, are our green buildings ideal for urban farming? We know that GBI tackles energy, water, and materials, but would it help in food sustainability? Why? Because we are also going to face food crisis. You've heard about the northern states, you know, our farmers in Kedah and all that, where they couldn't farm paddy because there's not enough rain. So it's going to come here. So what do we do? And urban farming is one of the solution. So this is my proposal. GBI certification should include urban farming features. I think you do not have it yet. I'm not too sure, but maybe not yet when we speak about urban farming. Why? Because this supports SDG efforts to promote sustainable living, community engagement, and food security. Urban farming represents a shift towards a more sustainable, resilient, and community-focused urban living. So just to give you some heads up about what sustainable design means when you speak about green targets for urban farming. First, easy, reduce carbon footprint. When you have urban farming friendly areas within your building, you would no longer have, okay now, 10 minutes up, all right? It's getting hot up here. Okay, so reduce carbon footprint. So when you have urban farming within the vicinity, you do not need long distance logistics. You can just have the farm to table concept. You can have your vegetables just right outside of your unit, maybe within your balconies and all that. And secondly, you would have efficient use of space. So when we speak about efficient use of space, we have a lot of balconies, rooftops, vacant lots, and from unutilized areas to productive green spaces, you would have promoted urban farming. And most importantly, we would be having overall waste reduction. So what overall waste reduction means is that organic waste from households and businesses may be processed into compost. And about food security and resilience, we would be having local food production, healthier food options, community and social benefits, and economic potential. All right, so I just like to quote this wonderful paragraph back since 1993. So sustainable design integrates consideration of resource and energy efficiency, healthy buildings, right, and materials, ecologically and social sensitive land use, and an aesthetic that inspires, affirms, and enables. So these are just the must-haves for urban farming. You need space, you need crops, you need to start small, you need a vertical space, and you need to have water and soil management. Well, this would be within the expertise of the architects, so I'm just putting down some notes. This is what is required, and community participation is actually the main theme of urban farming. So this is what our future cities should look like. We want active living, but we also want proactive climate protection. And urban farming contributes to urban sustainability and resilience at the neighborhood level. So, yeah, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please promote urban farming in your designs. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan Julia. I hope it's not too short a time. If just now was the anak murid, according to Puan Julia, now we have to call the teacher. So next up, we have architect Mustapha Kamal Zulkarnain. He's a fellow for PAM, and his topic will be urban farming and agriculture. So maybe a direct continuation to what Puan Julia was mentioning. Thank you.
Thanks, Ali. First of all, thank you, Puan Julia. Actually, we just had coffee, and he asked, what do we do? So I just pass it on. But I'm going to do two things today. The visuals is telling a story. I am talking a story. So you have dual, they call it a stereo, okay? Because it's only 10 minutes, so I want to give you 20 minutes presentation in 10 minutes, but with a visual and audio. So before I go to the slides, so continuing from what Julia was talking about, we did the night alarm in 2000. It won an award from MIP as the most innovative township. You can go now. It actually changes the whole landscape about town planning and architecture. It's 1,000 acre with 8,000 houses, but it created about 10 kilometers of linear parks. MBSA wanted to do a 100 acres square park. They said, that's our requirement, 10%, but actually, I'm not doing a city, I'm not doing Putrajaya, I'm not doing KL. So I want people to have access to open space and urban farming within 600 feet. So they asked me to change the plan, and we did. And now, if you go around, during that time, we even won an award. We beat Putrajaya, we beat Sunway, we beat Kota Kemuning, we beat all the others, because now the time when you go to any show development, what they tell you, they got 60 kilometers of cycle lane, they got 20 neighborhood parks. That's what we did in 2000. So basically, it changed the whole landscape, and I think architects can be those sort of things. So I like to carry on. So, where is it? So this is my talk about urban farming. And we know agriculture existed about 10,000 years, but farming has only existed about 60 years because of the advent of fast food. You know, you have the singular potatoes coming in, what sort of size of potatoes, all those sort of things. And rice also happens in Malaysia in that manner. So we are actually having a problem of food. So in the Night Alam, what we do, we have community farms, and Almina, which is the extension of the Night Alam, which won last year's FIAPC, continued our adventure about these linear parks. From a kampong concept, remember kampong? You actually existed by having your agriculture next door. As what Julia was saying, the food comes to the table, you have your chicken, you have everything there, so it can be done. And in 2020, I was actually invited by CASA to actually present to the World Forum Expo about food and urban farming of Malaysia to market investors coming into Malaysia. So it's a tough job to actually have that, to actually tell people what Malaysia can offer. And it succeeded, so work's going on, and actually there's more food. It's not enough food, it's actually a lot of food. Only that media is putting it, in reality there is no food. Okay, it's only the perception. Then about hunger, right? There's actually no hunger. It's only a perception. So you have to read all this in order to understand where we need to put. The only problem is about the levels of concentration of where we should be doing. That's the reason why when we did the Night Alam is, it's a lot of water when you need the water and you contain it. And that's why during the 2021 flood, that place doesn't, you know, in Shah Alam, you got a very heavy downpour, right? That place is just okay. It's just right at the gigi of the roads, whereas the other parts of Shah Alam is actually underwater. And local markets, we also provide local markets over there, so people can actually go to the market without having to go to the supermarket just to buy a loaf of bread and queue up 200 meters outside of the shopping market during the COVID. And then, if we're talking about hunger in Africa, there's a lot of food, only that the world concentrates where there is no food, but actually there's a lot of food. And furthermore, we only talk about hungry abroad, but what about our own country? If you go around in KL, you know, after 7, I did bring to the chief planner of town, KL, DBKL, and also architect, after 7, you will see a lot of people queuing up for food and also lining up where they want to stay at the 5 foot of KL. If you don't believe me, you just go and you can actually see it. And this is probably one of the first things that I would like to bring the new layer to actually see what's happening in KL. That's where our job is, and I think Haji Nazri also, past MIP president also is going to go with us to actually talk about that. Another part is about how to handle disaster. Actually, we like to actually make us understand that architects needs to be understanding where is the pain stake of the high points or the weakest point in environment when you're actually planning or designing something. So you need to understand the idiosyncrasies of our cross ventilation. So that's the reason why. During the structure plan 2020, when we were having COVID, I took the issues of, how should I say, Wuhan. They did the 1,000-bedded hospital, and within the hospital, there is actually corridors of open spaces where you can breathe fresh air, as well as have lights coming down for them to actually see lights. Because when you are on the bed, you actually think of getting better. So 1,000 bed will acquire about 8 to 10 acres of hospital space. So imagine if Kuala Lumpur were to be like that, we need to have a corridor of healing. So we have a lot of parks, right? Taman Tasik Siti Wangsa, Bertuani Park, then you have also Pamaisuri. But are they connected? You need to drive to the park, right? I imagine when you go to Lake Gardens, the amount of carbon monoxide at the children playground is the most highest because the parents are actually trying to find a park to park the car for the kids to play, but the kids are playing in the carbon monoxide area. So what we need to do, I was telling in the Bantahan, why don't you just do simple, the blue way, the green way, the gray way to connect all these parks. Alhamdulillah, 2020, if you look through the PSKL 2020 or 2040, the plan's there. So now, Haji Nazri and myself are in the committee looking through the local plan. Alhamdulillah, they're carrying through those plans. So you expect a better KL with a connected. When I say connected means you can walk, you can cycle, and you can skateboard to the parks from where you are. So that's the next level of things that we like to do is a skateboardable city. So you can, you see a lot of people carry skateboards in the flight. That's what they want to do. And Regus, use your bicycle. So that's what they want to do. So I think we need to understand that apart from urban farming, where you plant food to eat where you live, you also need to plan your own health within your own self by having a better, layout. And the Malaysian government has actually done a lot of work here. It only needs to be translated into actionable plans. If you look detail of every state here, every state, there is actually food parks. And I say food parks is a lot. All this physical plan, every state, every country, even Penang. So basically, you need to understand that we actually carry the torch and we have to be there. We cannot fight from outside the ring. We have to be inside the ring to actually tell all this. So these are some of the things that we need to do. 2 minutes, right? Okay, so just enjoy the way that how other people are taking agriculture. Right now, if you go to Setia Alam, there's so many of these frog parks. You don't have to have what I call a 5-star type urban farm. Anything simpler is much, much better. And when I go to my school, last time was VI, we got the space approved, at the entrance where the Merdeka 118 entrance of the VI, that whole area, about 2 acres, we are going to build an urban farm, and we are going to have the 500 kids who stays in the hostel there to actually work on it together with us, ex-boys. So we are actually cultivating from the young. So this is actually education from the young. And we need these people, and myself and an architect, some of my old students or old colleagues, engineer, food. So we got the whole bunch. So I think you need to work as a group, and to achieve what you know this guy, right? So he has Bangsar, almost got evicted, but I think people now understand that you need a park like this in the city, and it should be promoted much, much further. Of course, there's some legality that you need to handle, but I think the nobility of the idea is more important. These sort of houses, we need to promote this type of houses. Okay, this guy, when we went and visit, you know, virtually he eats from the top to the bottom, everything you can get, except for the cow that you got to buy from the market. Okay, Yogya, whoever been to this hotel, I recommend you to go there. The hand railing has got serai, has got all these things, so you can actually feel and smell. See, it's right here, the swimming pool. All these are actually food for the restaurants. And it's very, how should I say, heartening to see these sort of things. See, all these are actually actual, not plants for decoration, but plant for food. So this is how architecturally we can do it. You know, I got here up there on the rooftop, all these vegetables for the hotel in Singapore. Okay. This one here, of course, I'm not promoting the waste to energy. There's even the European Union is discarding it away. But the way that they build the structure to create recreation and also agriculture is very, very important. So, urban farm in Tokyo, you know, we have lots of disused old houses, shop houses in KL. Why don't we do this? We should promote this. I think PAM should go just knock on the door of mayor. We should do this. 20 minutes, we can do it. Okay? So, I'm not trying, because I'm doing it. So that's the reason why I think she's telling me that way. But what I want to say is, you have to actually put yourself as part of your work rather than being a chore. When the moment you create architecture as a chore, there's a problem. But if you create architecture as part of your life and your vocation, I think it makes more point. And that's what I've been doing for, I don't know, ever since I came back in 1990, I suppose. So that's how. And I think resilience is very important. No matter what people say, what you do, all those sort of things. But now, I'm sitting in the local plan in DBKL, listening to 28,000 grouses of your netizens and even architects as well, giving all these bullets for me, right? So keep us going, Nazri? Keep us going and maintaining that KL has still got hope. If KL got hope, Malaysia got hope, because everybody is looking at KL. Okay, so that's the move. I call it the Tandok move, and we should go for it. Okay, thank you. I hope I'm on time. Oh, you want the mic? Sorry.
Thank you, Architect Mus. I think it's very good. This new set of speakers, they tend to introduce the next speaker for me. So I don't have to introduce so much. So our next speaker is Town Planner Haji Mat Nazri Muhammad Noordin. Of course, been mentioned by Architect Mus many times. He's the past president of MIIP. And he is going to, maybe in a narratively appropriate continuation, be talking about planning guidelines for greening the cities. A big round of applause for Town Planner Nazri.
Terima kasih Arkitek Sali. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and peace be upon you. The topic that was given to me actually is to look into, to talk about standard guidelines, strategy, policies, and I think I would not like to go exactly into that, because all that is available on the net. You can just go to Plan Malaysia website or DBKL website and get to know. But what I want to share today is more on a perspective or on a vision that a person of my age, at the, kalau orang Melayu kata dah nak masuk, dah nak isyak kot, you know, that I can say what I want to say. Okay? Okay, when we talk about urban green, and so the topic about today is more on urban green and my personal perspective on it. If you look, to me, when we talk about urban green, it's always been, daripada dulu lagi, Central Park, New York is a very good example. A green area, about 840 acres, in the middle of a massive urban development. And it has been there for more than 160 years and still intact. What about us in KL? Yang tanah sekangkang kera pun suddenly yang previously it was green, suddenly it is something else. So that is some of the things that I think that I believe that we should tackle in that context. So when we talk about urban green, I mean New York, London have its Hyde Park, KL have KLCC, Penang, Georgetown got Padang Kota Lama, and when you talk about Kuantan, you talk about Padang, MBK. So some of the states or some of the state capital or city do have that iconic urban green or space or what you want to call it, which is, I think it is important that for us to maintain at least or to sustain it. But presently, with what things are moving along, we're talking about urbanization, opening of new areas, cities are expanding, we are losing a lot of green and forests and whatnot, climate change, things are getting hotter, especially in urban area. Urban heat island is a reality. I experienced this myself. This is a view exactly from my office, which is some of you might be familiar. This is in Malawati. The before picture is about 5 years ago. 10 years ago, it was that space in front is all green, with pine trees, with grass, and a lot of tall trees and whatnot. And now, it is what in 2024, it is what it is now. And it is, with Malawati Mall there, I'm parking my car in Malawati Mall. That 60-meter walk from Malawati Mall to my office is now very, very uncomfortable. The heat is, I think, probably maybe not 6 degree world, maybe it's more than that. It is becoming a bit ridiculous, you know. And look at the design of the supposed to be Ampang Jaya Central Park. It is very much hardscape more than softscape. I think that's something that we need to relook back how we'll do. And this is another example of what urbanization did. 1990, Shanghai, and what it is now in more than just 20 years into that. And the same thing is happening in Dubai, Abu Dhabi corridor, and those kind of places and whatnot. So this is serious matter. Climate change, urban heat, island and whatnot. So presently, okay, we talk about, Mus was talking about KL, its plan and whatnot. I remember I was involved in the first local plan. We were talking then about each population should be allocated about 20 meters square of green. When they completed the 2020, they finally completed the 2020 local KL city plan, the present green area available is only 12 meters square per person. So the target is 20. So in the year 2020, it was 12. The year now, the local plan that that we are talking about now, which is based on KL Structure Plan 2040. Sorry about that typo. Is coming down to 11 meters square. What's happening? Our target is 20, but the supply, the existing is getting lower. So that is serious business. That's something that we need to look at. How we need to tackle this. I think hopefully if I understand correctly, most in KL City Plan 2040 that we are reviewing now, listening to public opinion and whatnot, they are making plans and things on how to make it achievable. Maybe start going up again to the 20 meter square target. So presently, planning practice is, when we talk about planning, so this is how I want to relate back to the original topic that was given to me. Planning has always been, if you follow the guideline, you follow a rule of thumb, I always told my staff, the stupid arithmetic, you're talking about any 100% of land area, only 10% going to be maintained as open space or green. So the rest, 5% probably going to be for JPS reserve, the blue corridor, most likely. 30% definitely infrastructure, and you are left about 55% for developable land, which come to maybe another, out of that 55%, 5% finally will become green. So in total, only 20%. Out of 100% green area that is open for development, only 20% are left for green area. This is not a good, if we keep on doing the same thing, this is not a good practice. And when we talk about parcel planning, which is you guys, police area 60, setback, road, green 40%. Actual green, 5, 3, 2, 0. So this is something, the question that I think we need to answer, or we need to tackle, we need to make plans and give ideas of how to mitigate this kind of thing. I think this is something that at the rate we are going, I don't think especially in KL, I don't think that 20% is that 20% per meter square per person is achievable. I think that's something that we. So, a lot of the photo example and whatnot, you guys have seen it from the previous speakers and whatnot. So imagine, this is what if any new development, you have to provide 100% green area. If an architect come in with one parcel, 100 square feet, you want to propose a new development there, you must provide 100%, which means 100,000 square feet of green surface or green area. That is the challenge that I'm putting to you guys. We talk about, example has always been there, talking about, and now a lot of things is happening. JJ, Veritas did the PKNS HQ in Shah Alam. I thought it was less than 100%. You told me today it's more than 100%. So it is doable, something which is possible. That I believe that we got to move towards that. So how? By redefining what does it mean, what is urban green. If presently it's just like, okay, you prepare a plan, 10%, you must allocate green. No, I think we need to redefine what is urban green. At ground level, above ground, vertical garden and green should also be considered. Roof park and green should also be considered as. So we need to, the term there is not exhaustive. This is something that I think of over the last few days. So to provide mitigation, this is what we're talking about to mitigate the challenges, the future challenges that we're talking about the whole day today, the whole morning. Talking about climate change, talking about food security, we're talking about heat, we're talking about the idea of having a much more comfortable living and whatnot. So the idea is, to me, I would like to suggest that we redefine urban green. And the checklist, don't look at where the thing that was ticked. My boys go overboard with it. But the idea is that, okay, you have the function, urban green, active, passive, just contributing to climate change, farming and whatnot. And the location would be ground, vertical garden, horizontal, intermediate, roof, or whatnot. So you see, so all these things are happening. That's why I asked the question just now. 14 years ago, when we start the idea of green building, what was the cost then? Not the consultancy cost, the cost of that building as compared to a normal building. What is the difference? If I do a normal building, my cost is X. If I do a green building, X plus what? 10, 8, 2, or whatnot. Now it should be much cheaper, because the technology is advanced. You know, new materials have been found. So and new ways of doing business have to be there. So there are many examples. I mean, TRX is a good example, and a lot of. And I was made to understand. I think when we talk about tropical architecture, Malaysia have been there from day one. Dr. Ken Yang was the first one, I think, if I understand correctly. You know, historically, he was the one that really the concept, the idea of tropical architecture, all these kind of things that have been implemented in Singapore and whatnot. Singapore is way ahead of us now. So my idea is that we should not wait for the authority to impose this idea and whatnot. We as professionals should be the one that doing the pushing. This is to take some of idea of some of the panel earlier in the beginning just now, that we should take the lead. You know, we should convince the client. We should convince the developer that this is the best way to do it. Because if I understand correctly, when I was learning planning in Malaysia and in the state, and if I understand what architecture is all about, or landscape architecture or planning, the DNA is already in us. So we should be the one that don't forget about the authority, Plan Malaysia, or the government to come up with this policy. Why not? We should be the one pushing, selling the idea to the developer, to the client, to the authorities and whatnot. We should be the one. So I take that as a challenge to you guys. Less than 8 minutes, huh? Okay, just a disclaimer, the view presented is totally mine. It's not MIP. And not any local authority, not any government agencies or whatnot. It is totally my idea, my thinking. So on that note, thank you so much for listening. An old man talking about something that he wished the world for a better thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Haji Nazri. But don't go down. We are going to immediately proceed with our question and answer session. And you're not that old. They are older people. Please take a seat. I would like to call our 4 speakers back for the question and answers. And I think how much time do we have? Huh? We only have 15 more minutes. So I would like to call landscape architect Inch, architect Mohd, and Puan Julia.
Test.
There are more seats than the speakers, so it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Mana pun okay. Oh, okay, sure. Thank you. So I think to connect the narratives together, we have seen Inch talk about his sort of like transitory gardens, and how gardens can be anywhere actually, right? So, and how again Miss Julia spoke about gardens being part of your life. And it could be for food. And then architect Mohd continued with bringing that into a city scale and the night alarm and how it should be a natural part of the urban fabric. And it, I think, ended nicely with Town Planner Nazri mentioning about it's more than just about regulations and whatnot. It's about it being a natural part. And again, there's a call for professionals to take on the charge, and very revealing data that our local plan area per square feet for green is actually shrinking rather than rising, which is, I think, the original intent for KL local plan was to actually increase that. Even the target was not just 20 or more than 20, but it has now decreased to 11%. So that is alarming. Yeah. So I think there is an emphasis on the charge taken by professionals. We have a lot of architects in the audience here today and other professionals as well. Perhaps since we only have 15 minutes, I wouldn't go too much into the analysis. I would just take questions on the floor. Any questions? Yes, please. Please, Fiza, hand the mic to... Please identify yourself and ask your questions clearly.
Yeah, thank you very much. James Chin here. Just a simple question for AR Mustapha. Talking about the urban regeneration, etc., and DBKL having all these wonderful plans for the future, but in the immediate, climate is not waiting for us any longer. Is there any possibility of encouraging studies by even students or local architects such that they look at their particular area of immediate areas? You know, there are certain areas, for example, from here to the MRT station, how you actually travel under shade, how you actually experience your pedestrian experience, your green experience, or improvement of the journey. Can that be done rather than we are just waiting for another plan to come out and waiting for another budget or waiting for another government agency, so that we can do studies, we can encourage universities that they come up with their own studies so that things can be put in motion rather than be waiting all the time?
Yeah, when we are on the hearing side, when we are now doing the report, out comes all this, not just studies, all this, what they have Laluan Sia Kaki master plan, cycle master plan. It's all there. I asked them, when are they going to do it? So this is the same question. So that, and we both of us being inside there, we are actually instigating that this is the closest that we can get to you to actually have it start now. So if you want us, we can be there. That means to say that we are ever ready, is whether you are ready. So I think what you all need to do is just use your lecturers, call on DBKL. I said, I want to do this. I heard you have this. How can we make it program? Use your master students, use your PhD students. How to make it monetized? You do it. That's where I think the new Datuk Bandar wants to do, because I heard that she's actually going to actually correct the media. So you all use those sort of things to do lah. So I think that's the only way for us to get it moving. And I think soon, I think in some of the organization there will be another position. They call it the CSMO, Chief Social Media Officer. So you just get at that, get it all corrected, because last time it's all about Setiausaha Akhbar. They will talk, they will read all the 10 newspapers in one day. Now you go through all the IGs, the TikToks, the thing, go and evaluate which is the most primary. So I think that's where how you need to do, just charge. And when I say charge means not bill it, but when I say go to that, the DBKL and say, I want to do this, I know you have this, can we do this, can we do this? So I think that's what Haji Nazri was saying, right? Don't wait for them, you do first.
I think, yes, yeah.
Can I just...
Baru je nak tanya, yeah. Yeah, please.
Well, just to answer your question, I just came from Bangunan Sultan Abu Samad, and we've been tasked with, and there seems to be fund available for working on that precinct, the historical precinct. We're regenerating the landscape there and connecting the landscape, because our idea is to connect the landscape and then move the landscape outwards, First we do one area, re-green, and then we move out. But that's a different thing from from actually putting, for example, Nazri's idea of making sure that it is policy that you do X, Y, Z. I also tell you that when we do our landscape, we do some condominiums sometimes. Well, my job always has been to try and make sure that our replacements is 100%. You can not always be 100% by using green walls on top of all the vertical surfaces, including the roof. You can actually achieve 100% replacement of green. But the only problem, obviously, is the next, which is a deeper question, which I wanted to ask the last group of people, and that is the thing about sustainability and biodiversity. So that's the next wave, you know. All those things are important. I don't know whether I'm contributing or not to the conversation here, but that's what.
Yep, I think Nazri.
I just want to add as an example, I mean, the question that you brought up. I think if I remember correctly, I'm not propagating, but one of the best way to get things done is actually do it. I remember what YTL did in Bukit Bintang. They did it with, they did it themselves. You know, they do the plan, they did everything, and yeah, because you can't wait. To me, wearing as not as the mantan president or whatnot, you can't wait for authority sometimes, because sometimes they don't have resources or they don't have the time because they got other things to do. So if possible, like Mus was saying, if we go based on the plan that they have, just go and do the plan, detail it out, and then if possible, get somebody to do it for us, like YTL did or like Think City did, or those kind of things. So if we want to wait for, I mean, we're talking about the connectivity from the station to the MRT station to the surrounding area. We talked about this in 2018, 2017 to them. It's not happening yet, that thing. So the best thing to me is, like I said, we lead.
Industry-led solutions. Thank you. And I think just to add on that, yes, industry-led solutions. And by the way, the new Datuk Bandar of DBKL is a very green conscious person. And I remember when the first day she was elected, Seksan, just now you remember somebody showed that, you showed that it's going to be evicted by DBKL. And when the new Datuk Bandar came in, Seksan on all his social media, he mentioned, he showed the new Datuk Bandar coming in because this is the first Datuk Bandar that visited kebun-kebun, because he had visited before. So perhaps that's a positive thing, and showing that there is a shift. Yeah. So the environment for something that is industry-led is easier. Yeah, maybe I will just open for one more question, because we are really pressed for time and Dr. Suchi is very, very restless. Yes? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, thank you, organization, Architect Ashi, Dr. Suchi, and Architect Sadi for organizing this fruitful event. I am a young graduate architect. I just want to share a short story with all
your
you.
Name, please, Miss.
Okay, my name is YC.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason of I standing here, please forgive me if I speak anything wrong, because this is my first time speaking in public. I want to share short story with all you, because I'm doing research in University of Malaya, and there is an article called Discussion in Explanatory Gap. It's talking about people lack of knowledge when people falling in depression. So nowadays there's psychiatrists to giving the medicine for those who facing depressions, but it really can reduce the rate of that people causing depression very seriously, but it cannot settle the main reason of why that people falling in depression. It can decrease the rate, but it didn't settle the main causes. So as an architect, how we can improve this is, as what you guys have been mentioned, the food security, because nowadays fast food, cakes and breads is very bad for our health. So to plant the herbs and vegetation is very crucial when we wanted to bring this green building benefit back to the community, because green building is a very huge topic. It relates to economic, it relates to environmental and also society. So back to the foundation, we should take care of our health, because as a young architect, I feel that health is very expensive nowadays. So as a people that can improve a better future, we can start from the basic and plant more vegetable and herbs, and how we can contribute back and stop eating more medicine in future.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. Maybe I can rephrase it a bit to summarize.
I'm too nervous.
It's okay. First, don't apologize for asking a question, because you are the generation that is the main stakeholder for the future. So I think everybody give her a round of applause. More young people should be asking the questions rather than the previous generation. So, okay, that's first. But to rephrase your question, what is there is a huge emphasis on health and well-being, yeah? And sustainability, of course, linked with health and well-being. So how would we improve that? I guess that's the question. So maybe Ms. Julia, you can add on to this.
Yeah, I think I'd like to echo what Charlie mentioned. Congratulations. I think you just highlighted a very important issue. And I'd like to just add on. I think what is missing is that we fail to recognize the issue. We straight away dive into the solution. So I'd like to quote Einstein here. Einstein once said that if he had 1 hour to solve a life-threatening issue, he would use 55 minutes to understand the problem. 55 minutes. And the remaining 5 minutes would be to come up with a solution. So I think you highlighted a lot of prevailing issues, mental health and everything else. But what is important here is that we must understand what are the issues. And to understand the issues, especially with regards to green buildings and going beyond green buildings, I think the architects play a very, very vital role. So this is where awareness needs to be increased, and then the solutions can start to be devised within the final 5 minutes of the world. Because we heard some very, very concerning statements about whether we can sustain mankind within the next decade, maybe. So I think it's very, very important that we recognize the issue, and then we can come up with the necessary and feasible solution.
I think maybe some of our other speakers can add to this connectability between urban green and sustainability with well-being.
Sorry. I was talking about healing corridors, right? We are rich with sun, we are rich with tropical weather. So we should create more of these healing corridors. You know, just like your house needs cross ventilation, right? So you have Every house is cross-ventilated. Every park in the neighborhood is ventilated. Every tall building, most of their tall building parks are actually sandwiched inside a building. Where is the ventilation? The smell is stuck there. So you need to actually make sure that it's actually cross-ventilated. The moment it's all cross-ventilated, then you make it connected. I think with the moment you have a breeze coming in from the east through the, what we call, Klang gates, then KL, we have the better breeze. And that's why some of the people are living over that side, because that's the first breeze that's coming over. The sea breeze from the east coast comes from there. So we need to have that breeze to come into KL, and that will be the most refreshing sea breeze that we want. And that is design. And who is better design than we, planners, architects, landscape architects. We create that, like yourself as well. Start from there. Nothing rocket science, and we start the movement. That's the most important thing. And Haji is staying over in Malawati where the breeze comes in. So he says, the breeze is here. So we make sure that it flows and flows and flows. They call it, when you have the parks at the most, how shall I say, narrowest part, the breeze becomes bigger, the speed becomes higher, velocity increases. So then you get the sea breeze in the city. Right. What's that? That's good benuli. Yeah. So we need to think.
Thank you, Architect Mus. Do you have anything to say, or else I would like to close, because I think multiple times Dr. Suchi is giving me the time out. But I think let's summarize with this. Early on today, we had mentioned that what is a good green building? A good green building or a good green urban space is a space or a building where you go in and you feel better. You feel comfortable, you feel better, and you feel happier there. So that, I guess, is the conclusion of today. And to create that, it needs to be driven by us professionals. Thank you.